Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screams. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Lucky number 13, 13-1, survive in advance. Who cares?
Woo!
If it ain't pretty, it's about getting the dub, and they got it. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday, one and all. We're Sports Day, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. He's Barrett Brooks. He's Derek Gunn. I am Rob Ellis. What's up, fellas? How we doing on this Monday?
Couldn't be more happier right now.
Hey,
Amen.
look,
I like it, Barrett.
Couldn't be more happier.
Eagles find a way to get a win. Dallas loses on a ricochet. But let's talk in general terms for just a moment. If you are a sports fan, just think about the week in general. We see two great games on Saturday, culminated with probably the greatest World Cup game in the history of the World Cup. Argentina and France, what a shootout in that game. I look up at point, Argentina's up 2-0. It takes me 5 minutes to walk upstairs to my hotel room. I get up there, it's 2-2. Back downstairs, it's 3-3.
Yep.
And I have the privilege of being in that Galleria at Ocean Casino. You know, that place was packed with soccer football fans, but soccer fans also.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And everybody just ooh ah. You know, it's like wow. And then you look at the collection issues in the NFL on Sunday, and it's like one of the best sports weekends I can remember in quite some time.
Awesome. You're right, Derek. There's nothing that compares entertainment-wise. There isn't. Like, there's no reality show. Yeah, music's great, movies are great, TV show, no doubt. But the what you get with sports, man, I feel bad for people who don't like sports. They don't know what they're missing out on. Honest to God, they don't.
Absolutely, man. To go through what we went through. I mean, just looking at last week. I mean, just look at the Colts and Minnesota game. I mean, Minnesota comes back. It's the biggest comeback ever in NFL history. Number one, and that's even playoff and regular season. Watch that game. Then Dallas starts talking junk early in the week, and they lose in Dak Prescott fashion.
In typical Cowboy fashion. Yeah.
We go up, we do everything wrong, and we still win. This is just a perfect scenario for me because it's going to make that team stronger, number one.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's the little things that you do where you can get through adversity. Mm-hmm. See, this team, that Chicago Bear team had a week and a half, 2 weeks to get ready for this Philadelphia Eagles team.
Incredible.
2 weeks.
Yep.
They had 2 weeks of a game plan. So when you look at it with adverse conditions, they had 2 weeks to prepare for them. It was their Super Bowl. And at no point did I think we were going to lose that game. That just shows how good this team is.
Yeah, and look, credit to the Bears. They played their best game of the year.
Yeah, they did.
I truly believe that. I thought their defense played their best game of the season. And we're going to talk to our buddy, Marshall Harris, who we had on Friday. We'll talk to him a little bit later about the game and everything that went down. But, yeah, I mean, you know, what's funny, you know, as much as you look back and you say, boy, it was a struggle day for Jalen Hurts, he still throws for over 300 yards. Really, only one of the 2 picks was on him. The other one was on the wide receiver. And he rushes for 3, and he gets a 2-point conversion.
Right.
Like, that's what he does. It's not always going to be pretty. But first of all, he doesn't let anything affect him. He just moves on. All right, pick, whatever. We're not playing well, whatever. Everything's going to be fine. That's exactly what you need in a leader. You can't have some guy who's moping, who's got his head in his hands on the sidelines, who's throwing tablets, who's yelling at guys. That's not him. And I don't know if that's appreciated enough. He's unbelievably talented, but it's here, man. It's between the ears, which is so big for this guy.
You know, I almost felt sorry for the Chicago Bears. The game before the game, they're down Darnell Mooney, the best pass catcher. Claypool doesn't play. The top running back next to Justin Fields is out. Then Equanimeous St. Brown, his first catch, he gets a concussion. The left tackle goes down to the point they bring a cart out and take him off. And then 4 or 5 other guys go out of the game. I'm thinking, man, if you talk about snake bit team.
Yeah.
I mean, how much more snake bitten can a team be in one season?
No, you're
goodness.
right. You're right.
It's not their time, man. It's
Oh,
not
no.
their time,
Yeah.
right?
It's just unbelievable what
Right.
they've had to. And then on top of that, they trade their 2 defensive leaders, Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn. You know, it's like, my goodness, when it rains, it pours on this team. But they gave a heck of a battle.
They did. They did. And to the Eagles' credit, when they had to make plays, they made plays. You think about the throw, the deep shot that he makes to Hurts, to Brown down the sideline is just a drop in the bucket. Beautiful throw. You can't throw it better than that. Let's not lose sight of the conversion on the last drive that you pick up on 3rd and 6, or else you probably have to punt the ball back to them. Yeah. And who knows? Who knows what happened? So, like, plays were made yesterday. And look, what we do our usual offense and defensive breakdown, but let's give some love to that defensive line, which is ferocious, man.
Right.
I mean, it is just an assault on the opposing team's quarterback every single week with these cats. They have more sacks than anybody, more sacks per game than anybody in the NFL this season. And they're destroying, shattering what they did last year in terms of the sack totals. It's incredible what they've done.
I just look at this team, man, in all phases of the game. They're able to go out and face adverse conditions, adverse opportunities that the other team takes advantage of. We get everybody's best, and that's what people got to understand, you know. And I see people in the stream, you know, you can't really like saying AJ Brown's not playing hard. You can't say that. AJ Brown was playing his ass off. He was playing very, very hard. It's just he understands that when he was going a little above and beyond, he was causing turnovers. So now he's very, very he takes advantage when he can do it, but understand that he's playing his ass off out there. You know, it may look like he's going. No, it don't even look like.
What did I miss? There's a beef with AJ Brown.
Yeah,
some people have seen. Yeah, in the stream.
Not playing hard.
Or he got paid too much. I mean, I can't say a 1,200-yard, 1,300-yard receiver is not getting paid too much.
It's a weird day to be floating that out there.
Dude had
9 catches, 181 yards.
Right.
Playing hard. Come on,
I don't understand where that's coming from, man.
Whoa.
And then all right, Hurts threw 2 interceptions. One wasn't necessarily his problem. I mean, wasn't necessarily his fault, but he has to take it. You know, I mean, his receiver didn't cross the face of the safety, but I mean, he was able to bounce back from it. That team was ready. You know what I'm saying? That if they just didn't have enough horses.
No,
they have a great running quarterback, and everybody's trying to equate him to Jalen Hurts and all. No, he's not a Jalen Hurts.
No,
and for them to think that he's going to be a Jalen Hurts, it's not going to happen. Jalen Hurts is his own being, bro. He's not like anybody I've ever seen. He's not a throwback, he's not a drop back quarterback. He's also not a running quarterback. He is a quarterback that does his own thing. You can't put him in a box, at any point of saying he's just a running guy. He ran when he was in Alabama.
Yeah.
But when he got to Oklahoma, he was a drop back passer. And he's been able to marry the two together to become Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, a good point.
If you
look at quarterback,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, if you look at what you look at the Bears quarterback, he's gifted. He's a 4.4 guy, and they're just bringing this out. He was not a running quarterback when he was at Ohio State.
Yeah, because he didn't have to be.
He didn't have to. Yeah,
he was a drop back passer.
Great players adapt to their surroundings and their circumstances and do what they have to do. And as Fields' career progresses, when he gets some help, he won't have to run as much. Jalen doesn't have to run as much as he ran last year. That's what really good, because that gear's there for those guys. They're not one-trick ponies. They can do what they have to do, man.
If they ever get Fields weapons, that kid's going to be lethal.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
The thing that always impresses me about him is he doesn't look like he's running that fast, but you can't catch him. Once he gets an open field, you can't catch this
No,
dude.
he's ridiculous.
That one run he had down the sideline when he did that pirouette, I thought it was a touchdown until the replay showed he steps outside. I'm like, oh my goodness. On a 2nd and 27, he took off. I'm like, oh my goodness. And the Eagles, they had angles on him. He's still running past him down the sideline. I'm like, my goodness.
Amazing. Amazing. By the way, and hi to everybody in the chat section. And maybe you guys can help me out with this. You guys, Derek and Barrett and everybody in the chat room. Where are our Cowboy Weasels? Where are they? Where are they at? Was the rock not turned over?
What's that dude named? What's his name? Texas boy? Or
yeah, where are they at? I'm just curious where those losers are. Were they just they oversleep a little bit today, or was it because their team lost in excruciating fashion? I'm just curious. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm curious where they are.
Look at Rob. Rob, you taking on the D-gun role today? Is that
it? Well, when it comes to those losers, yeah, I am actually. Yeah. So anyway, just curious where they are, because they do go into hiding. That's for sure. I will. Let me throw this at you guys first. We're going to get into everything here. I know it's almost locked in. It's not quite 100% locked in that the Eagles get the 1 seed, right? I'm not even playing around on Saturday. I'm going all out with everything I've got on Saturday. There is no holding back. Oh, we'll win the next 2. Forget that, because you never know what the heck can happen in this league. I'm going full bore Saturday.
If they win a game, the 1 seed is locked up.
If they win one more game, period, the number 1 seed is locked up.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm saying wins, but you can't, there's already been this notion floated. Just be vanilla. Don't show them anything on Saturday. Maybe you don't play all the starters. Give me a break. No way.
No, I mean, this is Dallas, Philadelphia, Cowboys. That's, to think anything other than I'm just going to rip these guys' heads off is you just don't know the way this battle has always been since I've been privileged to it. Is I hate Dallas, period. And that's what I'm living by. Last year, I almost threw up the entire game that we didn't play our starters in the game. I didn't care if it was Dallas. Dallas played their starters all the way up until halfway through the third quarter. Their starters played.
You're right.
And they were already in the playoffs.
Yep.
They played their starters until it was only 7 minutes left in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
They played their starters against our backups. They already locked up the division. So don't tell me it don't mean nothing to them to beat us.
So Barrett, how long did it take after you were drafted by the Eagles to understand what the Dallas Eagles rivalry meant?
When I got off the plane, when they flew me up for the draft conversation after we got drafted, I was fully indoctrinated into Dallas. I had a fan come up to tell me, look, you could do 2-14, just as long as those 2 wins are Dallas. That's the type of notion they gave me when I first got here.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to hear anything other than, hey, we got to beat this Dallas team. And it does a lot for how this team approaches any game. You got to go in, going for their throat, bro.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
And I've heard all this, you could play them in the playoffs. You don't want to show them everything. First of all, there's no guarantee you're playing them in the playoffs.
Right.
Dallas lost to the Jags yesterday, so there's no guarantee of anything. Secondly, again, you half step on Saturday and lose. There's no guarantee you beating the Saints or the Giants. Okay. So, take care of it, man. Finish it off, finish them off, do it at their place, send a message. I think the message you would send by beating them in that game and sweeping them in the regular season is more psychologically damaging than you can't beat a team 3 times anyway, in my opinion, just right. Where I fall with this.
I think the definitive message is we beat you here, we beat you there.
Yeah.
What you got?
Exactly.
That's a big cycle. And it's true. There's something to be said for beating a team 3 times in one season. But you know what? Worry about that 3rd time down the road.
Same.
Finish them off. Finish them off this Saturday.
Derek,
you got to.
We're on the same page, man.
You got to finish them, man. You got to finish them, bro. There's no way around us whooping their ass. Period. No. I don't want to hear anything other than if I'm a starter, I'm playing. BG is playing. Kelsey is playing.
Exactly.
They want to make sure
Yep.
Jalen Hurts is playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then, we already have this notion out there. Oh, it's the system. It's not Jalen Hurts. Okay, we're gonna see. This is it. We playing at home, and I need an early Christmas gift. I need that. Give me that.
By no stretch of the imagination do I think this will happen because of the way the Eagles go about their business. But if the Eagles, if Dallas gets on one of those rolls like they did against Minnesota, 40-3, like they put that beat down on the Colts, see, that's a different mindset now because it's 1-1 and Dallas got their revenge, even though they can't win a division.
Right.
However the game plays out, I don't want to see it be one of these if it's lopsided for the Eagles, fine, because that's more demoralizing for Dallas. I don't want to see Dallas have one of those days like they did against those other two opponents and start beating their chest again. Because to be honest with you, I don't care. Right now, Dallas losing that game, they drop down to the 5 seed. I think they're gonna be one and done, whoever they play, to be honest.
Right.
I think you have two teams in the NFC that to me look like one and done teams. As phenomenal as that comeback was for Minnesota, as I've been telling you guys, Minnesota's been doing this all season.
Mm-hmm.
Some point in time, those comebacks are going to come up and catch you and bite you. You think there's 6 wins that they have on their schedule where they had to come from behind, a fluke interception, a big run, where they won those games.
Yeah.
You came from 33 points down to win that game.
And
that doesn't happen.
It's major props to the Vikings, but what also is what was one of the worst coach games you'll see. This is why you don't hire guys off the street. I know Jeff Saturday played, and I'm not disparaging that, but he has not had the coaching experience to be able to handle these situations. And you saw it. You go for the field goal there, not to do a whole thing on that game, but you go for the field goal there, you make it 11 points. You don't try and sneak it with Matt Ryan.
No.
And you're in a dome in perfect conditions. Your guy buried a 50-yarder before. It's dumb football, man. And that's how you crack the door here. I'm not cracking the door for the Cowboys, and I'm not cracking the door for anybody else to get that 1 seed. I'm putting a kill shot on them if I can do it.
I wonder how Matt Ryan feels. He's been on the short end of 2 of the most embarrassing losses in his tenure. The Super Bowl against New England. Yep. And now this game, man. I mean, that's bad. I think Jeff Saturday just sealed his fate. We were talking about could he
100%.
Possibly get the coaching job? He ain't getting that job. He can't. But Jim Irsay just wacko to do something like that. But you can't give him that job. You got to bring in a qualified coach.
Yep.
Who knows how to handle situations like that.
Right. How do you even think about giving a guy the job when he got out coached in so many facets of the game, man, from time management, player management, understanding how to stop the bleeding. Mm-hmm. Knowing when to throw a flag, knowing not when to throw it. I mean, it was so many things that he just too young as a coach, not even a head coach, but too young as a coach, even too young as a coordinator to think that you're gonna get away with that. You know what I'm saying? He just was outclassed, man. That's all. Outclassed.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. So the other thing with it was a 25-20 final for the Eagles. So they're now 6-0 in 1 possession games. So as much as I know, like the thought is it shouldn't have been this close against the Bears. And I get it. They were a 3-win team and there were ugly moments and they turned the ball over 3 times and there were a lot of things going on. But, I look back at the 2017 team. We tend to forget about the Atlanta game. Do you remember, that Atlanta game was really ugly, the playoff win, the divisional round.
Yep.
You got to win ugly games. You got to know how to win close, ugly games sometimes. And that's what you use this game for. That's the purpose of this game, to learn from some mistakes, but also know that, hey, we can be down a little bit. We'll be all right. We're going to make mistakes. We'll be all right. Let's try to avoid this or that. And in big spots. And that's my takeaway from this is you won on the road against a team throwing the kitchen sink at you. And you did what you had to do. When you had to make plays, you made plays.
Same thing happened in Minnesota. Minnesota learned how to win. They learned how to win ugly. They learned how to win at the last minute. So they came back and they won that game because they had experience of doing it. It was a learning experience for this Eagles team. No matter what happens, they will always be in it. At no point did I think that they were going to lose this game. No point. I knew they were going to win the game.
primetime players step up and make primetime plays. Plain and simple. And they made primetime plays. I look at that 3rd and 6 when you're thinking, okay, they're just going to pick up, the necessary yards to keep the drive moving. Oh, no, he goes up top and goes deep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a perfect ball. And you're thinking, what if the ball had been a yard or two this way, it's out of bounds? What if the defender recovers, you grab his arm, incomplete? Now you're looking at 4th and 6, you give the ball back to Chicago. But the quarterback makes a heck of a throw, the receiver makes the catch, boom, they're at the 1, touchdown, they go up against 2-point conversion, go up by 12. That was a huge difference in the game.
Yeah.
Huge.
It was.
Because I always say, you let a wounded animal in the NFL stick around long enough in the 4th quarter and think they can beat you, lo and behold, they'll find a way to bite you on the backside. I mean, Chicago didn't have the weapons, but they made that game interesting because of their running game, and for whatever reason, even though the Eagles knew this kid was going to run, he needed 95 yards to crack 1,000 yards. I mean, Hassan Reddick should have had at least 4 or 5 sacks, but that dude was Houdini. That one, but he ducked under Reddick and took off. I mean, my goodness, But the bottom line is,
you won. Like I look at it this way: the Cowboys lost in overtime to the Jaguars. I know the Jags are playing way better, but still, they were up big and they fell apart and they lost that game. It took the Chiefs overtime against the Texans to win their game. Just look around the league at the stuff that happens week to week. It's its own chapter. Every single week, I know, the Eagles are heavy favorites or 9-point favorites. It doesn't matter. It's a week-to-week league, man, and it's hard to win every week. Like, you're not going to win the way the Eagles have won the last couple of weeks, where you're just killing teams and your starters are out of the game in the 4th quarter. It just doesn't work that way. As much as it looked like it was going to work that way on paper, the reality is it doesn't.
Bro, it is so hard to win games in the NFL. People don't understand how the parity in the league is so close.
It is.
And an injury here or a mindset, not even a player, but a mindset of what a player is can take you over the top. A lot of these guys, man, going out there playing like, all right, situational football, understanding who your opponent is, what your opponent brings to the table. They just go out there and pick up Harris. Now, Harris is a cover safety. He's in shape. He just came from a roster, so it's not like he's not in playing shape. Right. He could have played that game. But what do the Eagles do? Gannon says, all right, I'm not going to put him in right now. I don't need a covered safety. I need a box safety. I need a safety that can go out there and hang around that line of scrimmage, make plays, sure tackler. Well, that's what Kayvon Wallace is. He couldn't cover you with a blanket, but he can go up there, come and lay a hit, go up there and make some plays at the line of scrimmage, play within the box. So they just, all right, we're just going to go with him. We went into this game with 2 safeties. 2 safeties.
Yep.
And Kayvon Wallace played well enough for us to win the game, man. So that just goes to show they understand who they need and how they need to use them. And it worked out for him that this is the game. This is a Kayvon Wallace game. He had 8 tackles, 7 or 8 tackles this game. And all of them were crucial tackles and timely tackles that he made.
Yeah.
You look at the last 3 games, the Eagles are everybody's Super Bowl for these last 3 games.
Yep.
And Rob is right. You mess around and lose to Dallas. As lame as the Saints have been, that's not a guarantee you're going to beat the Saints. They have the weapons.
And the Saints still have life. And the Giants right now are 1 win away from the playoffs, but we don't know if they will have that clinched by then. So both teams could have something to play for here.
I never thought the Giants would beat Washington in Washington,
I
to
didn't
be
either.
honest. I never thought that. I mean, I tell you, that just goes to show you how crazy this league is.
Absolutely.
I mean, this weekend, did you? And I know we're going to talk more in depth about it. I never thought the Dolphins could go in there, 19-degree weather, 20 inches of snow,
Hold their own.
and they held their own. They could have very easily won. I mean, they put up 29 points in Buffalo, and Raheem Mostert ran up all up and down Buffalo's defense. Barrett, we talk about this all the time. The difference between winning and losing across the league on a weekly basis is so minute.
Yep.
And a lot of times it does come down to available talent. But look at how many games where fluke plays have decided that dumb play the New England made is, I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you
Right. Come on,
You
man.
know, it's just, but the whole league has been like that all season long. Look at this Bears team. 5 of their games were decided by 5 points or less. They're right there. They're like the Detroit Lions of last year. They're right there. They just don't have the people to finish the job. Now look at this Lions team a year later. They start off 1-6, could have very easily folded tent and just played out the season. All of a sudden, they're at the door of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone 6-1 over the last 7.
Yep.
You know, it's just a matter of getting on a roll at the right time and having things fall your way.
Exactly.
It's so minute. The Eagles have to continue to go about their business as they have to get to this point at 13-1. But just know that everybody's swinging at you a little bit harder. Everybody's punching at you a little bit stronger to try to knock you off that pedestal. It's going to be interesting because, you know, I don't think they're going to go 1-2 the last 2 games. I don't think I'm not. When we get to Friday, I'm not picking against the Eagles down in Dallas.
No,
They're underdogs, by the way, for the first time all year.
What is it, like 1 point underdog?
It's 1 or 2, depending on where you're shopping here.
That is crazy to me, man.
Yeah, I'm not surprised one bit, Bear. I'm not surprised.
That is so crazy. And I went off on a postgame show last night about that, man. The total disrespect that this. And I thought it was just ESPN, man, but it's more.
I
than
told
just ESPN.
That's why I
more
asked
than
you guys
ESPN.
the question last week. Why is there so much disdain for Philadelphia outside of Philadelphia? I've been here 25 plus years, and it just continues to flabbergast me. And Rob, you being a native Philadelphian, I thought you would have an answer, but I don't understand it.
Well, I'll give you mine. I think we take the
Okay.
bait. I think we lose our minds when even though we say we don't care, we care. I think there's that. I think it's because it's the Cowboys, and I think they know that no matter what they do, or typically, if you're just talking about this specifically, I think it's the Cowboys because they always had them ranked ahead of the Eagles. I think they know it's going to get people on both sides reacting. Cowboys fans are going to love it, and those who hate the Cowboys are going to lose their mind too, Derek. I think it plays into it. I don't think it's an honest assessment of what they feel. I think they're trying to attract clicks and attention.
It works for us,
and it works.
But it's not just this week. It's consistently for years. You know, Jalen Hurts on the outside looking in, he's not the odds-on favorite to win the MVP. What? I mean, look at all the polls. Okay, what? Eagles 13-1, Dallas is 10-4.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna tell Dallas is favorite? Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a constant disrespect week in and week out, year. And even in 2017, nobody predicted that team would do what they did.
Right.
You know, even in the latter part of the season when they were controlling the NFC, people picked the Rams over the Eagles, so on and so forth. And of course, the Rams won that game because Carson got hurt. But even then, people were still disrespecting the Eagles. No way they do this with Nick Foles. They don't have a Pro Bowl left tackle. They can't do this. It's always something with the outside perspective when they hone in on Philadelphia, more so than New York, Boston, D.C., Chicago, Dallas. I've just never been able to figure this out about Philadelphia.
I got you. All right, let's come back. We'll dive into the Eagles' defense first. It was a defense that yesterday racked up 6 sacks that now is 55 on the season compared to 29 last year. And we'll give some guys some individual love here, but it was also a challenge with what Justin Fields brings to the table. So we'll do defense, then we'll do offense. Marshall Harris is going to be joining us. We had Marshall on Friday, caused some stir, predicted the Bears would win. We'll see what the spin is, even though they didn't. They played tough. We'll talk to Marshall at 1:30.
He'll have some spin.
You know he will. So we're looking forward to talking to Marshall. And then at 2:00, we'll do our NFL segment. It was even by, like I said, NFL standards, this was an insane week that we just saw. I mean, there's still one more game tonight, but it was an insane Thursday to Saturday to Sunday. Just wild all around. So we'll dive into that coming up at 2:00. We'll get into some other stuff a little bit later too. Sixers, some Flyers stuff, some Phillies announcements, some extensions made, birthdays, movies, all that. So don't go anywhere. It is a Monday, and the Eagles won yet again, 13-1 on the season. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn. I'm Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, time for me to tell you about my guy, Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. Yes, finding that right person, finding the person to trust, find the person who is going to invest your money the right way, right? It can be a challenge. It can be hard And it's critical. We know how important that is. I found the right person, and it's Jim and it's Principal Financial Group. For you, it could be any of the above: retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. You might have a small business. You're trying to set up your employee benefits. Could be something else as well. And Jim is a great person to consult, to just kind of throw questions at him, bounce things off of him. I know I personally have entrusted my IRA, my 401k to him, and I couldn't be any happier. You will be as well. You can reach out to him. Just give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You can email him as well. Murray, MURRAY.Jim@principal.com. That's Murray.Jim@principal.com.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for a December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Rams starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
Welcome back in, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Monday. Along with Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, I am Rob Ellis. Hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great weekend. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us, everybody streaming, everybody watching, everybody listening, everybody in the chat section. And let's hit that like button, folks. We do appreciate you very much. That's for sure. All right, guys, let's look at the defensive side of the ball. Now, 20 points allowed. Pretty decent number, at the end of the day. There were a few moments where, like we said, Justin Fields just made some insane plays on his own and really kept plays alive and made big plays down the field. It was unbelievable. But, you look back at the day itself, they end up getting 6 sacks, 2 Reddick, 2 Hargrave, 2 Sweat. Reddick's at 12 for the year. Hargrave's at 10. Sweat 9.5, Brandon Graham's at 8.5. As a team, they have 55, which is first. They had 29 last year. They have 3.8 per game, which is first. The pass rush was something that was an objective to fix. They went out and got Hassan Reddick. Let's start with him, man. I mean, this has been one of the all-time great free agent signings the Eagles have ever made.
Almost unblockable. Almost unblockable in the aspect. I mean, he is so quick off the ball. His second and third move, his hand placement, the way he hand fights. He's taking it to another level because you have to allocate resources to him, which is allowing everybody else to eat. You send a line his way, and he's fast enough to still beat you on the outside. They didn't have an answer to him. He should have had 5 sacks.
At least.
But, the quarterback's so good. Now, a guy like Dak Prescott, he's not going anywhere. He'll be right there.
Yeah.
They may break the clock as far as sacks. I know they have way more than 6 sacks against Dak.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles have done an incredible job feasting on inferior offensive lines all season long. They have utilized that to their ability. The thing that impresses me most about a Hassan Reddick is when his first burst off the ball, and I've watched it closely for 2 weeks now, he does an incredible job setting up an offensive tackle to make that tackle think he's going to do one move and do something completely different to get that edge on him. Like he'll fake like he's going to the inside and slap it to the outside. He'll do that slap to the outside and get around him, or he'll fake like he's going outside and go right up under him and stuff. And teams that study this stuff, it's amazing how they still can't counter for it with him. And most teams are still dumb enough to just have a one-on-one situation, a tackle one-on-one against Hassan Reddick. I haven't seen many teams try to chip Reddick, to be honest with you. They've left him on an island, and he's become hell to deal with for opposing offensive tackles.
Yeah, he really has, man. And you look at his numbers, and I found this pretty cool yesterday. Barrett, your partner on your NBC, one of your partners on NBC Sports Philadelphia, Ron Jaworski, put this tweet out there regarding Reddick. How about this? Since 2020, so 20, 21, 22, last 3 years, QB sacks. You got Myles Garrett and TJ Watt, who are tied at 41.5. You know who's second behind them? Hassan Reddick at 35.5. Most forced fumbles in that time span. Hassan Reddick has 12. He's first. Shaq Leonard, 11. Aaron Donald, 9. Not only, and we saw it again yesterday, he not only gets the strip, gets the recovery too yesterday. This dude is around the ball. He's, of course, when you get sacks, you're going to get strip sacks sometimes, but it's not just, on strip sacks. He's a guy who will punch the ball loose. He's an opportunistic player. Barrett, you pointed out earlier in the year, man, just play him at defensive end and let's not worry about his size and all that other stuff. This dude has a nose for the quarterback, period.
Yeah. Bro, for a long time, everybody kept saying, what are we going to do to make Hassan Reddick a better player? How are we going to move him around? I said, no. We're going about it the wrong way. They tried that in Arizona. Then they put him at defensive end with the Panthers, and he blossomed. This year, just put him on one side and let him go, or just leave him where he's going to be at and just let him go. You know what I'm saying? And that's all you had to do. Just let him go feast. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're doing. They're letting him stay on that side, rush the passer against inferior pass. Usually you put your best pass rusher on the left side. You say your left side is where you put the premier pass rushers. You put guys because it's the blind side of the quarterback. Well, they say, you know what? I'm going to put you right in front of him. I want you to see him coming in your face. But he gets off so quick that the quarterback does see it happening. And then the guys on the other side are feasting because of it. The guys on the inside are feasting because of it. Because it makes the quarterback play frenetically. And now you can't get a beat on what's going on down the field because you're so worried about what's going on in front of you. Mm. So it's great how they play him, and he's taking full advantage of it.
Yeah. Yeah. You're dead on. You're dead on. And he's been amazing. And it's not just him. We talk a lot about how Jordan Davis or maybe drafting somebody because you're going to lose your 2 defensive tackles, Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave. We might need to re-examine Javon Hargrave walking out the door. This guy's playing the best football of his career.
He can't go.
Yeah.
He's one of the –
Who can't go?
Javon Hargrave.
Okay, let me ask you this then. You said he can't go after this season. Is that what you're saying?
I don't want him to go, yeah.
Okay, then let's prioritize. Who do you keep? You're not keeping everybody. Right. Who do you keep?
Well, if you look at it, you got C.J. Garner-Johnson.
Yep.
You got Bradbury.
Yep.
T.J. Edwards. You got Hargraves.
And Fletcher Cox.
And Fletcher Cox.
You can only keep 2.
Okay, so put them in chronological order. Who's at the top of the pecking order?
Bradbury.
I agree.
Is 1. Boy.
Who's 2?
I mean, who's even 1? I mean, I
said Bradbury because very few teams have 2 lockdown corners. That's a premium nowadays if you have 2 lockdown corners in his passing game that we watch. Who's number 2?
I tell you, I might go Bradbury Hargrave. I know I've moved on this a little bit. It's hard.
More than CJ?
I think
more than TJ.
I think they can get 3 back.
Or TJ?
I think they can bring 3 back.
If depends on how they win and if they decide to give Hurts his money. They could very easily franchise Hurts. Now, it costs them a pretty penny, but it's a lot cheaper to franchise him for 1 year than it is to give him that monster contract right now.
You know what we're going to start seeing real soon is contracts being converted into like signing bonuses and stuff.
Oh, I know.
That's coming.
Well, you look at Coach. You know, Coach is saying TJ and Bradbury. I think more so like TJ and Bradbury also. I have TJ almost being number 1.
Why? You have N'Kobe Dean waiting in the wings.
Well, we still have Kazir White. He'll take Kazir White's place.
You could. Technically, with 2 first-round picks, you could draft a linebacker of the future. You could draft the safety of the future. I mean, you look at what Joe Douglas did with the Jets with those 3 first-round picks he got. He went out and got
an edge rusher,
an elite cornerback, and what was the third one? A running back? No,
receiver, isn't it?
Receiver?
No, he got a corner. He got a corner. He got the kid from Florida State, didn't he?
Yeah, Jermaine Johnson,
and then he got one more. What was it?
It's gonna drive me nuts.
Wilson, was it Wilson?
The receiver out of Ohio State.
Yeah, Wilson. Yeah. He got the receiver. Yeah, I knew he got the receiver. So
yeah,
that's awful tough, man. Because
he got Sauce Gardner, he got Garrett Wilson and Jermaine Johnson. Yeah, so he got the DN cornerback of the future, and both of them have played well, and he got an incredible wide receiver.
Yeah, Douglas did well.
So when you look at the Eagles situation, you have a quarterback that you're going to have to address. And even if they don't give him that mega contract in 2023, you're still going to increase his pay, number 1. You are looking at 4 other potential players. When Hargrave, Kazir White, CJ, Bradbury, TJ Edwards. Everybody's not wearing an Eagles uniform in 23.
Sure. Yeah. Some of these guys aren't going to be here.
No.
Plain and simple. They're just not.
No.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah,
you got to get cheaper.
But
that's hard right now, man. Like
it's a tough to say, and I think it's something we can revisit for sure. But it's a good discussion for no doubt. Guys, they're 7 sacks away from the all-time record from tying it.
What 62?
62 is the all-time mark for a team. They said it in 1989. That was Reggie and Clyde Simmons and that crew. That's pretty remarkable. They might get over 60 from 29 the year before.
Wow. This may be the first time that you ever have a team with 4 double-digit sack guys.
That's correct. It's never happened in NFL history. You've already got 2, and you're one that's a half away, and one's a sack and a half away. I'm
glad you brought up sacks. My question is, does Brandon Graham get double digits finally for the first time in his career?
Yes.
Wait. I'm glad you said that, Mr. Brooks, because I pulled up the numbers, okay? Go back to 17 when it was a given that he was going to get 10 sacks, okay? So on December 3rd of 2017, they played Seattle. He had 1.5 sacks that game, gave him 8.5. On the 10th of December, he got none against the Rams. On the 17th versus the Giants, he got 1. And on the Christmas Day against Oakland, he got 0, ended up with 9.5. So where is he right now? He had 3 against the Giants on December 11th. to put him at 8.5. None against Chicago. He still has Dallas, New Orleans, and the Giants. Now, the New Orleans has only given up 30 sacks this year. Dalton has been sacked only 18 times, considering how inconsistent he's played. The Giants or the Dallas Cowboys are basically his options.
I agree.
So will he get to 10? Will he get to 10? Yeah. Now, the funny thing is, I gotta meet up with Brandon at 5:30 later today. He's going to do a favor for me before he does his show at Chickies and Peace. So I text him. I said, dude, will you please get these 10 sacks so we can stop talking about this? He goes, oh, I know it. And it'll come when it's supposed to happen. Yeah. I'm like, what does that mean?
Wow.
You know, but he should have had a couple. He should have had a couple yesterday, but Brandon Graham ain't catching Justin Fields off that edge.
That's not a great matchup for BG. No, that one. No. Look, he's hard on anybody to bring down. Not just Brandon. Exactly. Let's be clear. And look, again, I go back to this. Sometimes you tip your hat. Sometimes people are extraordinary. Like Justin Fields is an extraordinary athlete. You know, like we could sit here and say, oh, you got to form, tackle him better and bring him down. Okay. I mean, maybe, but he's doing this every week. There's a reason why this guy's over 1,000 yards. He's unbelievable. And there's going to be hell to pay when that dude gets some help.
Oh my goodness.
But they're not there yet, you know, and he made it difficult. He did. And the Eagles made it difficult on themselves early with some mistakes. And late, well, you know, Miles was in the second half with the fumble, which we haven't seen all year from him, by the way. First fumble for Miles Sanders this year. Jalen had only thrown 3 picks all year. This was uncharacteristic. You know, one of them is on Quez Watkins. By the way, Quez Watkins has to be better. Can we just talk about that for a second here?
Yes.
He's got to be better, period. Not just that pattern, but with everything.
That explains why he doesn't get more looks. As fast as he is. You got to earn it, dude. And I thought this would be his breakout year. And we keep talking about why does Quez not get more looks? And now we know why. You know, he still hasn't excelled to that level. He hasn't, I don't think he's elevated his game. And I'm not talking about just catching the ball, but in terms of route running, being more assertive in the 50-50 balls, things like that. He still has not taken that next step yet.
Yeah.
You know, which I'm sure is frustrating for a coaching staff.
Yeah, and they're trying to get him involved too.
Yeah, they are.
Probably too much in my estimation, but that's a different discussion.
But going back to what I had asked you guys before, prioritizing defensive personnel and just looking at what the Jets did, I could see this team. If Bradbury is going to want a lot of money, I could see the team using that fifth overall pick to take a quarterback. Kazir White may want too much money. I could see him using that second pick in the draft, take a linebacker, or take the linebacker first, cornerback second. I can see that happening. You know, I'm with Rob in terms of I think Bradbury is the priority here. But what is the Eagles' cap on how much they want to pay a cornerback when you're already paying Darius Slay a lot of money?
Yeah.
I mean, very few teams put that kind of investment into 2 cornerbacks. It's the luck of the draw a lot of times that you got one you brought in paid, and then you have one already in the fold who's a premium cornerback you have at a decent price. I can't see them paying 2 cornerbacks that kind of money when they have so many other concerns to worry about.
What brings us to what is the Eagles' biggest need come draft time? We already talking about draft time and everything.
Well, I know.
What is the biggest need? You know, I mean, look pretty much balanced everywhere, you know, and balance being the key. So many free agents. I'm gonna hold that back. You know,
their need is going to be their need's going to be whoever walks. Like if it's Bradbury, the need becomes corner. If it's Kaiser White, it becomes linebacker. If it's Hargrave and Cox, it becomes tackle to team up with Davis. If CJ walks, it's safety. So I think it could be any of the above. That's a fluid situation for what in my opinion.
We haven't even talked about Miles possibly walking out that door.
That's true too. And let's face it, as much as we like Boston Scott and Gainwell, there's not a number 1 out of those 2.
No.
So
no, right.
You know, you would need a number 1 if that's the case, you know, for sure. I thought generally yesterday they did a nice job for the most part defensively. There were a couple of moments, couple hiccups here and there, you know, but all in all, hard to complain with a whole lot. Did you guys find any fault with anybody in particular, or did anybody else stand out besides the guys we just talked about on the defensive line?
No, other than other than doing a little bit better job of trying to contain Justin Fields, but they still got him for 6 sacks.
Yep.
Outside of that, letting him escape at times, that was the only thing. His escapability was the reason why they were able to stay in that game. They gave up 144 yards rushing, something like that. But when you got a quarterback like Justin Fields, obviously those numbers are going to be inflated. Outside of that, Chicago didn't have any receivers you had to worry about going deep with two of their prime pass catchers out. The running game, David Montgomery is decent running back, but he was their third leading back and not their second.
Right.
Well,
so outside of that,
you're right. You're right. I just don't see at this point that we have anything that we need to worry about, as far as, us stopping that Dallas run game. All right. We were actually last as far as quarterbacks rushing and in containing quarterbacks in their rushing. We were last. I think we gave up like almost 9 yards to opposing quarterbacks that are running, have the ability to run. But I don't think we could have lost to anybody else. We were going to allow David Montgomery to do it. If anybody, we would let Fields do it. But I didn't think, he could do enough to beat us. If we let him have 100 yards, he had 95, we'd still win the game. So I was comfortable with that. Mm-hmm. But this week, Tony Pollard, man, if we can let him get going, he's a special dude.
That could be the key to the game.
Yeah, because it opens up the pass too. Because now you can't, you got to take your eye off. And I'll tell you what, crossing routes hurt this Eagles team, and that's what CeeDee Lamb.
I'm glad you said that.
It does. He definitely, can run crossing routes, and he's very good at it too. Very, very good at it.
Well, not just him, but that kid Noah Brown is pretty good at those crossing routes also.
Exactly. Yep.
Now he made the gaffe yesterday where he should have caught that ball and flipped it up in the air, touchdown, Jacksonville, game over. But he's really coming to his own. I think Dak trusts him in a lot of cases more so than Michael Gallup right now, and Gallup's a pretty good receiver. So, but Dallas, CeeDee Lamb and Noah Brown really good at those crossing routes. And let's face it, crossing routes are difficult for any team to defend. Mm-hmm. I thought the Eagles' best defensive stance yesterday, which to me really helped decide the outcome of this game, was Chicago was at the 14-yard line, and Fields got sacked twice in that series and forced Chicago to punt. If they get 3 or 7 on that drive, it's a little bit different game then.
Oh, no question.
But they pushed him out of field goal range. Didn't let
Are you talking about the one at the end of the half, Gunner?
Yeah,
to me, that the Eagles turn it over. They get the stop, don't give anything up. They get the sack, which pushes them out of field goal range. They thought he might still attempt. Then they go down and score. That was a huge moment in the game.
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
A lot of the times, man, when I look at defensively, I don't know if you would call it blitzing, but they send 5 a lot of times on rundowns. That's because it's a 5-man defensive line.
Right.
So it's not really a blitz, but you could actually technically call it a blitz because I guess they only think it's blitzing when they have their 4-man front end. But they make sure you man up, man to man on it. That's why they would run those games that they ran, because you had to respect that 5th man coming, and he just happened to be a defensive lineman. Mm-hmm. They ran games so well yesterday. They set up tackles, because those tackles would jump out, especially against, on the outside. They would jump out because they had to get out there real fast. And those interior guys like Fletcher Cox and Hargan would blow up that tackle, hit him, blindside him from the inside, and he'd be scot-free. And then the defensive end would end up scot-free because, the guard couldn't get off on him that was looping in the inside. Mm-hmm. So they showed some significant progressions in their twist stunt game yesterday.
Yeah, I noticed on Sweat's 2 sacks. I thought they did more twists and stunts than they've done in quite some time.
There's a lot of it. Maybe it was something they saw with the Bears.
I was shocked with that.
I'll tell you that just real quick on the Cowboys thing. I saw the stat. I meant to throw this at you guys earlier. You guys realize since week 10, Dak's got 9 interceptions.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a boatload of interceptions, man.
Yep.
So if you can contain that run game, force him to throw, you're going to get picks. Like, you're going to get turnovers, and that could flip that game completely on its ear.
Absolutely.
On Saturday. And that's going to be a big deal, man, for sure. All right, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the offensive side of the ball, because it was at times a struggle. We still saw some good things, and they were able to put some things together, but it was kind of an up and down day from an offensive perspective. We'll get into that when we come back again. 1:30. Marshall Harris is going to join us. Marshall was feeling good about his squad, his Bears, although he would contest me saying that. But the Bears on Friday.
Hey, make sure you ask Marshall. See, Marshall is not a Bears fan. Ever since I've known Marshall, he has told you who his team is. Ask Marshall who his team is and why.
Okay,
when we get him on.
All right, we will do that. So Marshall at 1:30, but we're gonna have a little fun with Marshall at 1:30. 2 o'clock, our NFL segment. Lot in store for you. Don't go anywhere. Come back. Eagles offense. Derek, Barrett, Rob. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, we're going to talk about Pro Action Restoration. Yeah, Pro Action Restoration is the place that you reach out to if your home or your business has gone through the inconvenience of a water, fire, smoke, mold damage, you name it, across the board. Pro Action is on call 24 hours, 7 days a week. I've gone through it on a Saturday, called them in the morning. They were over there right away, cleaned it up, diagnosed the problem. The crew was professional. Price was reasonable. It was an amazing, helpful, sigh of relief kind of experience. Pro Action is licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. They will work in conjunction with your insurance company also. So think about it. Water, fire, smoke, mold remediation. You name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for a December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Rams starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
right, we're back. What's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging with us. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, with you on this Monday, Victory Monday, as the Eagles take care of business over the Bears. Not always pretty, but the bottom line is the result, and they win 25-20 over Chicago. I got to hit you guys with this. I know it was cold. I know it was windy, and that can affect things, and I want to get into the weather in a second. But the first question I have for you guys is, I frankly don't understand. And for a guy who's played as well as he has, and just to keep some balance here, I don't understand Miles Sanders not getting the ball until, 6:28, 6:34 left in the second quarter. I have no explanation for that, especially on a day when your quarterback maybe isn't on his A game. It's windy. It's cold. How does that happen?
I don't get it.
I kind of understand what happened. I kind of understand. In the first half, they wanted RPOs to be run. So for the most part, those RPOs dictated from Jalen's read that he should keep the ball instead of handing it off. And that's by design. I thought that's how Chicago would come in and defend it. They would slant the end or have the end crash, which would dictate that Jalen Hurts would pull it. And then they would scrape the linebacker, have the linebackers read the quarterback then, and they would be able to come up and make a play. Now they make a play 3 yards down the field, but that's 3 yards in which Jalen would get a nice little stick too, nice little butt up, and he'd get hit. So that's by design that they did that. Now, what you can do as an offensive coordinator is to run less RPOs and just hand the ball off to Miles Sanders, and that would dictate that he would get the read instead of taking the read. He would get the ball instead of taking the read and having Jalen read it, and they were making him and forcing him to keep the ball. So they could have changed it up that way, but I don't think that it was – I'm not going to say that it was a total, the total intention of this team to have him run 17 times. We said 17 times in the Detroit game was too much. Especially now when it's cold, late in the season, your body's already taking a banging.
More.
Yep.
Yeah, your body's not even healthy right now, not as healthy as it was back then, that you'll have your quarterback taking 17 hits.
Yeah, and some nasty ones.
But Bear, this Bears defense is giving up 146 yards a game rushing. I've said in the postgame show, if they'd have come out and established the ground game, this game would have been over by halftime.
Yep.
To be honest, it would have been as close as it would have. You have a 1,000-yard rusher, and he doesn't touch the ball until it's 6:28. I'm looking at my stats during the postgame show. I'm like, how's that possible?
Yeah, it can't happen.
How's that possible? You
call a traditional run play and take it out of Jalen's hands where he might keep it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How's it possible? It's not supposed to be possible, but there it was. It played out in front of us. And that's the problem that we're facing when you have a quarterback that's as gifted as Jalen is at using everything, his reads, his intangibles, and everything else.
Yeah,
he's just a weapon that it's almost too good of a weapon to have. Like,
protect him against himself, Barrett. That's why you call a traditional run.
Well, I mean, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. Jalen's not going to want to do it. Jalen wants to be the reason that we have success. He wants to put the majority of pressure on himself as opposed to putting it on somebody else. Put it like that.
Okay,
I guess, man.
Barrett, you and I have disagreed on this all season long. So on a cold day like this, you got the quarterback running the ball 17 times. And you saw the text that I sent all of you guys this morning about what Mailata said, right?
Yep.
I mean, it was one point he took that hit to the face. He slid, but before he slid, he got stuck in the face. And what did Mailata say?
Just stay down.
Just stay down. And he said, "Give me the bleep up.
Give me the bleep up." Okay.
Yep.
And I keep, if you're going to run this quarterback, okay, run him to the outside. And I understand sometimes you have to take off out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. But when you're calling design runs for your quarterback in the middle, and you got middle linebackers sitting there waiting to zero in on, that's with any quarterback. That's not just Jalen. Eventually, somebody's going to catch you with that shot. And somebody, let's face it, How many unnecessary roughnecks calls have we seen on quarterbacks in the National Football League this year?
Right.
Yeah, there's going to be some defender, whether it's a safety, a linebacker, maybe even a D lineman. The one game that really concerned me was when he ran to the outside, he sat down, and a defender hit on top of him and bent him over.
Happened a couple times in Detroit.
Oh, my goodness. You're talking about neck and back injury. He got up.
Yeah. That was Green Bay you're talking about.
The Green Bay game. Thank you.
Yep.
So yesterday, he takes that shot to the face and whips it and go, oh.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the quote from Mailata, help me up, get me to bleep up. That tells me he was woozy right there. Now, the dude is a strong dude, tough customer. He got up.
Yeah, he's too prideful to stay down.
Yes.
Yep.
But sometimes, like Rob says, you got to protect your best player from himself.
Yeah, I tell you.
But
here's the amazing thing too when you look at it. Our buddy Jeff Kerr from Good Morning NFC East just tweeted this out about 2 hours ago. Do you realize? I didn't realize this. Hurts has more rushing touchdowns than anybody in football the last 2 years, not just quarterbacks. He's got more than Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, and Austin Eckler himself. Wow. Like, that's wild, man. Wow. So he's one short of Cam Newton for the all-time quarterback record of 14. He's got 13 now. He had 3 yesterday, and he had the 2-point conversion too, which that was one of those where I'm watching and I'm like, Eagles, save this. Don't show all this stuff, man. Remember that they had the uneven line and they had Jurgens in there, and then it was a really cool play. But that's the thing. The beauty of him is Jalen. At the end of the day, after all that, the hits that he took, and the interceptions and everything that went down, he still ends up figuring out a way to score, right, and get in the back of to get into the end zone. But not just that. And this is what I couldn't believe. So he still, at the end of the day, I looked at the box score, I'm like, he threw for 315. Yeah. He had 315 passing yards yesterday, despite all that. So, I mean, was it really that awful a day? Like, if you look at it, 1 pick was his fault. He throws for over 300. He had 2 receivers over 100. He himself runs 3 in and a 2-point conversion. Like, his bad days are better than most people's good days.
Absolutely.
Well, and we'll also say this. When you look at it, he still has the ability to take advantage of the matchup options that were outside. And I think that's what they wanted to do for the most part. They wanted to take advantage of those outside corners. I mean, you're talking about corners that hadn't even played this year. Like they were backup to backups. You know what I'm saying? So there was decided advantage to the cornerbacks we were playing. Hence, that's why you had 2 receivers over 100 yards receiving, because the matchups were outside.
Yep.
But I think this is one of the first times I've seen them run to get a lead up. They just didn't put enough points up to make and force the Bears to run the ball. Pass the ball more. You know what I'm saying? I think they were trying to get up on them first, and it didn't work out for them. So they ended up having to stay with the passing game just to win the game.
I mean, it was an off running day as a whole, and they still ran for 112 yards.
Right.
on an off day. That's a great day for a lot of teams trying to run the football. Mm-hmm. That's a great day for this team.
And we're saying that Jalen had a bad game and threw for 300 yards. Got to be more careful, man.
Right. But that's a compliment. In a lot of ways, it's a compliment, Barrett, to how high the standard is set now.
Right. Exactly.
Where last year, if he threw for 300, we're leading with it. That's such a huge deal. But yeah, I mean, I think the other thing is they know they didn't necessarily have their A game. I think that'll help them this week against Dallas. I think it'll help them in the playoffs against Dallas. Like, they've survived a couple of these games before, and they've done what they had to do. So let's talk about the receivers here. A.J. Brown, 9 for 181. Devontae, 5 for 126. Combined, the two of them are over 300 for the day. They're going to have 2 receivers with 1,000 yards. They already have one, and Devontae's creeping real close. I mean, that is unbelievable. By the way, 5-0 without Goddard.
Yep.
5-0 without a Pro Bowl type tight end. And they erred on the side of caution yesterday with him.
Yeah, people are crying, why is Goddard not in there? You didn't need him against Chicago. You didn't need him. Why would you
that's
put
in
him
that.
out there in that cold weather? You're going to be in a controlled environment this week on a short week. That game is more important than this game.
Yep.
You had enough weapons to beat the shit.
Yeah. Calculated risk of we don't feel like he's totally there. Let's give it one more week. I'm okay with that. You have enough of people that can pick him up. Don't have fault with that.
Well, it's almost like, all right, I think that they really played Davis too early. But they wanted him to get back.
Jordan, yeah.
For King Henry in that rushing offense of the Titans. So I understand they wanted Avonte back. Just because, last week they wanted to get, a leg up on it. I think they could have held him out a little longer. They're usually not a team. They let them usually practice for a week first, and then they put them out there. I think they jumped the gun with Avonte and Davis because they felt as though they needed them, especially with, the safety position not being locked in.
Right.
They needed Avonte out there. So that's the biggest thing, with Blankenship not being there. So, I understand why they brought those guys back early, but why bring a guy back early when you're playing against a Bears team that you should beat in the first place?
Absolutely.
And I think that's the biggest reason why they didn't bring him back as soon as they did. Like, all right, we got another week. We're just playing the Bears. So since we're playing the Bears, we're going to hold off a minute.
Plus,
so I understand the rationale with that.
Yeah, everything hurts a little bit more when it's 19 degrees out. See, there's a difference between Midwest cold and East Coast cold. There's a big difference. Yeah. And when it's 19 degrees is like a freezer box. And especially with that hawk blowing off Lake Michigan, everything hurts a little bit more. Everything stings a lot more. And now that we know that Goddard had a slight fracture in there, why would you put him out there for now? You didn't need him. There's no reason to put him out there.
All right, let me break it down to you. The cold they felt yesterday is almost inhumane.
Yes.
It's not just cold on your skin, but that coldness gets down to your bones. That's how cold. It's almost unsurvivably cold. That's how cold it is out there when they were playing. And it caught Jalen Hurts by surprise. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he played in a cold game when he played against Green Bay 2 years ago when they were making that transition from going to Hurts from Wentz. But it's altogether different when you're out there in that water. That wind coming off that water. Man, Lake Michigan, that cold there is unbelievable.
And what did Jalen say? He couldn't feel his fingers early on?
Yeah, because he wasn't prepared for him. He wasn't prepared for him. You got to get them hand warmers, bro. You got to get those things. He don't have those things, man. He ain't play with those things. But you need those when you're playing out there in that type of cold, man. And people like to say, offensive linemen, bro, we hate playing in that too. That's not a cold that you want to be a part of. We hate playing. We hate being that cold also. It's so cold out there, it's numbing. And nothing you can do about it. I'm going to tell you, I've experienced that cold before. Say what you want to say. Everybody hates it. Even the coaches hate it. You know what I'm saying? It's an unbearable type of cold, man. Man, I tell you, bro, it's I'm so glad I'm not playing in that aspect that I didn't have to be in that cold, bro, because it's a different level.
I just think the good thing is, and it's not going to hopefully to be that cold, but it was a nice taste for what January playoff is going to be like here in Philly. Again, not as cold, but cold. So that's good. Again, I'm always trying to extract what you can take away from these kind of things, even though it wasn't a work of art. That's really, how I view this kind of stuff. But it's nice to have guys on the outside who can go out and make plays, because we went through a stretch here for a couple of years where there weren't any receivers, right? Yeah. And you look at the moves. I mean, again, Howie's moves on full display yesterday. A.J. Brown goes off for $181. Reddick at 2 more sacks. He's now, at 12 for the season. The off-season additions that he's made. And then, if you want to go back 2 years, trading down and still getting Devontae Smith, it's just he has hit every right note, man. And that's how you're 13-1. He's hit almost every right note across the board.
You can't emphasize enough. I said it months ago or weeks ago. I think this is Howie's finest job of assembling a team, and that includes the 2017 team. This team, in terms of depth and versatility, I don't think is second to any Eagles team that I've had the privilege of covering over the last 25 years. And it's shown when you look at Jordan Davis out for X amount of games, they go out and get Sue and Linvale Joseph. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is out. Somebody steps up. It doesn't make a difference, Offensive line the same way. Dickerson been in and out with that injury. It doesn't make a difference. They just plug and play, man, and keep rolling.
Yeah, this is definitely the most talented team that I've been a part of since my NFL career started back in 1995. You know what I'm saying? Like I played when I was playing for the Eagles. This was definitely more talented than all four years I played here, and it's more talented than since I've been covering Eagles football since 2012. Since 2012, it's still by far the most talented team that I've been a part of, and that I've seen, that I've been an analyst for.
So more talented than 17 in your estimation?
This is supremely more talented than 17. Way more talented. It's not even close. They had Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith were the receivers. Nelson Aguilar, it's not even close. It's not even close.
You could look at the running backs. They added Jay Ajayi. They had some pieces there at running back, but not better than Miles Sanders.
They're both better than he's better than both of those guys. Better than both of them. Defensive line. They had Timmy Jernigan, Fletcher Cox in his prime. Who else did they have?
They had BG. They had Chris Long. This
line is still
100%
better than then.
Yep. And that team's playing without Jordan Hicks, who got hurt. So the linebackers did a good job stepping up, right?
Yep.
But this linebacking core is better. And then you look at the overall secondary of this team with Slay and Bradbury, not to mention C.J. Gardner-Johnson and the way Epps is playing. I mean, just definitely talent-wise.
Who are our corners? We had who are our corners back then? Jalen Mills on one side, Ronald Darby on the other side. It's safety. We have Malcolm. Malcolm's still Malcolm and Rodney. Better safeties. Better safeties.
Yep.
Overall, I think we have better linebackers, better D-line, better corners. Safety is the only position. Both safeties were the only position that I think they were better at. Other than that,
Well, and here's where it gets interesting, right? If you look at that 17 team, because you had Wentz playing at an MVP level till he got hurt. And then Foles goes nuts in the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. Can you get that same level of quarterback play? Now, he's given you that level all year.
Yep. Not just for the Super Bowl.
Right.
But all year he's been handling it.
What I just wonder, a little bit about is there any kind of I don't want to say he'd be overwhelmed or anything, because I think playing in the playoffs last year helped him, but we just still don't know exactly what kind of playoff Jalen Hurts you're going to get. I'm pretty confident you're going to get the same guy we saw in the regular season.
Me too.
That's still be determined, and that's just a matter of playing the games. Like this week's going to be a really interesting test case. I know it's been floated in the chat, and we talked about it earlier about not playing the starters, and I think we're all on the same page with that. Play the starters, but how Jalen comes out and plays in this game too, where it's a game where you can seal your fate in a positive way if you play well. I think he's going to play good.
I'm so glad this game is one day earlier than normal, so we don't have to sit on a Saturday and wait for Sunday to get here. Just get the game. Just get this game going. By the time we finish up our week, it's the next day instead of 2 days away. Just get this game going. Plus, you don't have to worry about a game on Christmas Day, which is even more perfect, a more perfect scenario.
The great thing is we got a short week. I mean, it's tougher on the players, but it's great for us. Saturday instead of Sunday, man.
Absolutely.
One less day to wait.
Absolutely.
Get off on Sunday. Good to go on Sunday, man.
Yeah, it's going to be.
You and your stateside.
Have you finished off what you got on Thursday? Your supply that you got from Krause?
No. I actually haven't cracked open one
Oh,
yet.
you're gonna have plenty for this weekend.
I was gonna say, I know he ain't cracked 4 bottles of stateside.
No, just they're still sitting there, arm locked and loaded. Stateside, I appreciate you. Thank you, appreciate you.
Did you guys finish off your Christmas shopping?
I did.
Oh, my
by the
wife
way,
does all ours.
Happy Hanukkah to all of our friends who celebrate.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
Pass that
absolutely.
along.
Absolutely.
Wishing you just a beautiful holiday season. I'm not done yet. I'm looking to try and finish today because I got all kinds of stuff later in the week. So I'm hoping to get done.
So, bro,
here's what
when
I
do you
do,
get an
Rob.
opportunity?
Today I will. Today I will. I have a window today. I have a little window. The rest of the week is bad.
I'm finished. I'm
good for you.
I got a couple more things for the grands to do.
Okay.
For them. So I got to get that out the door and send to them. For the most part, I am pretty much done.
That's nice, man.
Yeah.
See,
yeah,
you guys don't utilize your assets, man. What I do, see, here's what we do as a family. My wife starts this in late October because she catches all these cyber deals, right? So she'll tell us in late October, okay, I want everybody's Christmas wish list now. So we all send her desires, and so she can look at items, and the kids can look at items too. If mom doesn't get something, they may get something from me from there. And then when it comes to me, when I look at her list, I call on my 2 girls. Okay, I need you. Let's see, what does mom really want? Here's my credit card. You guys handle it. And they order for me. I don't do any of that stuff. Like Tina and Alex and Cruz get home from Mexico this past Saturday. My wife has at least 15 boxes stacked up for little Cruz for Christmas.
My God.
Okay?
What?
At least 15 boxes. Tina walked in and said, can we just cut back on some of these, please? We don't have the space for it. And so my wife asked me, now the rule is my wife buys, I got to wrap. So I wrap all these gifts for all 3 of my kids, all the grandkids, right? I've become an expert at wrapping gifts. So my wife looks at me, she goes, Tina said we need to cut back on Cruz's gifts. What should we take out? I said, how the heck am I supposed to know now? Everything's wrapped. I don't know.
Too late now. That's for next year. That's for next year.
But we're going to take some out and hold them maybe for Easter. I mean, he just turned 4 December 9th.
Okay.
So we'll hold some of them for Easter. But see, you guys pull your hair out, or Rob or Barrett in your case, you pull the nubs out, and going through Christmas shopping. In my case, it's here, and here. My wife orders for all the kids and the grandkids. My daughter takes care of ordering for me. I'm good.
That's nice.
So what did you get for Trish?
I can't tell you that. She might be listening. See, the thing is, when I think Trish is not listening, is when she's listening, because after a show, she'll text me and say, I can't believe you said that to Barrett. That was a good conversation you guys had about this. And I'm like, where are you? I'm at my office. You're listening at your office? What? So she eavesdrops when I think she's not.
She's like Santa
attention.
Claus. She knows
man
at all times.
So I can't tell you. I'll text you and tell you, but
yeah,
I can't tell you.
Well, see, my grandson, I'm ordering now. In fact, I was looking at it for a second. In between the shows, I go in and I already know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna piss my son off, and I'm gonna send him all these Lego sets. So he's gonna have Legos everywhere in his house.
You ever walk on one of those in bare feet?
I know, bro.
That hurt,
this
whoa.
This is gonna be amazing. This will be amazing. What I'm about to do to him. So
I'll tell you what's almost as bad as Legos. You ever step on a Hot Wheels car barefoot?
Oh yeah.
Especially the ones that have that spoiler up high on the back of it and the little sharp edge. And I'm like, man, you got to bite your tongue. Make you want to say things you normally don't say.
Yeah.
I don't say stuff like that.
It's an unpleasant experience, man.
I said I don't say stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. And when donkeys fly. Yeah, okay. Oh my goodness.
All right. So when we come back, Marshall Harris is going to be joining us. We'll continue with the Eagles discussion with him. We'll get his impressions. He thought the Bears were going to be the victorious team on Sunday, and they made it interesting, but not quite enough. So we'll talk to Marshall about that, get his impressions of the Eagles and everything else that's going on around the league, because it was nuts. 2:00, man, we are going to go full bore into everything that went down, dating back to the Saturday games, which started off with that Vikings game, which was incredible, and ended on the snow night in Buffalo. But we had the Cowboys, we had the Giants, we had the Raiders, just insanity. Not to mention the Lions are on fire. The Jags are on fire. Trevor Lawrence is on fire. Bengals put up a 31 spot in the second half over the Bucs. So we'll get into all of that. One player done for the season, too. I'll update you on that also. So a lot of ground to cover. Don't go anywhere. We'll get a quick timeout. We'll come back, and we'll talk to Marshall Harris. He is Barrett Brooks. He's Derek Gunn. I'm Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, I want to tell you about Flynn Tree Services. Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So ask yourself the question, do you have any type of issues in your yard or on your property? If you do, they're just a quick phone call away, and they're experts at trimming all types of trees. And they service southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. They specialize in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. Now, keep in mind, it's hurricane season. It's windy out there. The elements are not exactly perfect. It's a great time to have your trees evaluated before something serious happens as we get deeper into the seasons. Go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call right now, 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for a December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Ram starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial Team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
What's up, everybody? We are back. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Marshall will be hopping on in a little bit. But before we get to Marshall, let's talk about the product that is the NFL, right? And what we see, on a weekly basis is nothing short of remarkable. It really is. You had wild games Saturday, and then Sunday was even crazier. in a lot of ways. Walk-offs, plays you never saw before. Like I never saw the way that Raiders game ended before in my life.
No.
Incredible performances where guys just stepped up and made plays all over the place. And it goes all the way up until really virtually the last play last night, where a pass interference call could have easily been, a flag should have been thrown, likely.
Yeah, yeah.
But you were in it and invested in the game, even though you're not a Washington or Giant fan, or at least we are, till the very last second. And that's what the league does week in and week out. It's why it's number one.
Yeah. Washington got jobbed on that last play. That was a mugging. There's no way they should have. And the thing is, they didn't get the call and they were at home.
I know.
But the refereeing in the NFL this season has been so inconsistent, and it has cost teams games. And I don't know what they can do. I mean, the referee committee's got his hands full in terms of sitting down and looking at all the miscues. And especially when you have all these different camera angles and replay, there's no excuse for getting a lot of things wrong. But, we've seen more ticky-tack stuff called, as pass interference. That dude was draped all over him like a cheap suit.
Derek, watching the game, and I actually liked the NBC broadcast. I think Tirico and Collinsworth do a good job. Everybody wants to hate on Collinsworth, but he says at one point after the play, officials don't really want to throw the flag in that spot. Like 2 plays earlier, you called the Washington for an illegal shift.
Yes.
But you're okay calling that in that spot? You know what I mean? It's like, what? There's no consistency to that from that standpoint, man. I just don't get it. Hey, by the way, we got a friend here on the is ready to roll. Marshall Harris. There he is. Marshall Harris joining us.
He got that look. He got that look on his face too.
Hey.
I know that look.
I know that look.
I enjoy a plate of crow as much as the next man. I'll admit I was wrong. The Eagles won the game. I stand by what I said.
Stop. I don't want you to do that because I want to gloat a little more. You're trying to
Barrett wants to pound the flesh. You want to pound the flesh, Marshall. Here we go.
Don't take my shine. I'm just saying I was wrong. A lot of people in life, I know you guys have experienced this, whether it's relationships, whether it's work, whatever, friendships, they can't admit cleanly they're wrong. They'll make an excuse. Listen, I was wrong. I stand by what I said. Like, I thought that the Bears had a great chance to beat the Eagles. They did. They didn't get the job done. Bottom line.
Right.
Marshall, here to your point, I think it's everybody in life, but the worst, generally the worst are sports, either talk show hosts or prognosticators. It's okay to say, you know what? I didn't think so-and-so could play. He proved me wrong. Look at what he's doing. You know what that does? It makes you more relatable and human because we all miss on stuff. I mean, how many different things, whether it's sports or not, that you're like, at first you maybe had a different view. And by the way, sometimes your opinion evolves and you grow on something and you see more. Like, I'm sure people wrote Trevor Lawrence off. Look at what that dude's doing the last.
Look at him.
You know what I'm saying? So
quarterbacks take time to develop.
Exactly.
You guys are enjoying the development of a quarterback that I don't know how many people who are watching right now were like, he's not the guy. Horrible mistake. How he misses again. Like, whatever. But right now, and maybe he never wins a championship in an Eagles uniform, but he looks pretty good.
Yeah.
From where I'm sitting.
Yes.
He can't. And also, he's not the one calling the plays at last check and saying, hey, Miles Sanders, why don't you just hang out over there? We'll call you, maybe midway through the second quarter.
And that, Marshall, that was really – it's the first time, at least in a long time, or maybe this year, that I really had a beef with the play calling, like in general. I thought most of the year they've done a pretty good job mixing and matching, but that was till 6:34 in the second quarter. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and like I said, you guys pointed to – Jalen Hurts doesn't turn the ball over. I said, sounds like he's due to me. I explained how the Bears had gotten healthy and they were going to be hungry, and everything comes to fruition in that respect. But at the end of the day, once Jack Sanborn went down, I was huge. Like, yeah, because you saw the plays he was making early in that game. Like,
he's good, man.
Chasing down Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Once he goes down, Tevin Jenkins, who's been great, goes down and is carted off. Hopefully he's
what was his injury? What was his injury?
A neck injury. They took him to the hospital, but signs were pointing up. We'll get an update from Eberflus today. But once those things started rolling And it's not like Jalen Johnson didn't do a good job on A.J. Brown early. It's just like once you get worn down, I have a rule. It's a very simple rule. As a Bills fan, as you guys know, I grew up a Bills fan. So I know what like quarterback play looks like when you're trying to get your quarterback and you go through all those iterations until you get the guy, a.k.a. Josh Allen, and in your case, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields here. If Nathan Peterman takes a snap in a game, you ain't going to win. Is that fair?
No, that's right. You're right. I will say this to your credit, though. Yeah.
At least although he did pick.
Although he did throw a double coverage, which was, I don't know what the heck he was thinking. But I will say this to your credit, though, Marshall. The Bears get down to the 14, and the Eagles sack them, and they take them out of field goal range. That could have been 3 points. If the Eagles were thinking on the 3rd and 6 are just going to pick up necessary yards just to keep the drive moving, no, they go deep and hit AJ down the sideline for a 68-yard gain. Those two plays, it could have been. Now, what if the pass is incomplete, too far out of bounds? Now you look at the 4th and 6 to get the ball back to Chicago again. Chicago's not a potent offense, but they can do enough damage with the quarterback to make it could have been a different ball game. You
saw the receiving core he was working with, right? Just so we're all clear.
Equimini and St. Brown makes one catch. He's out with a concussion. Dude, you had guys dropping all over the field that game.
Listen, so like I said, I stand by what I say. Ultimately, I was wrong. Oh, well, I'm really not sweating it. I will say this. The play calling, as Rob alluded to, I don't know. Because people have been asking me, well, I've been on shows all the last 7 days talking about this. And I'm just like, I think the Eagles have as good a shot as anyone is winning the Super Bowl. And really in the NFC, the only team that I like on their level is the 49ers. You know, I saw the Eagles are dogs this week, and I was like,
they are.
If I was a betting man, I would take that. After watching what happened to the Cowboys, no. And in the ultimate picture, Bears fans are super happy this morning. You know why? Justin Fields becomes the 3rd quarterback ever to rush for 1,000 yards. He's got Lamar Jackson's single-season rushing record for a quarterback in his sights, and they just keep taking L's. And I don't know if y'all saw, but the Denver Broncos found a way to win, and now they're in the driver's seat for the number 2 overall pick. And the Texans have been playing really well. Now they need to win 2 of their last 3. But the Bears are looking back to week 3, and they're like, dang, if we had just lost that game to the Texans, number 1 pick, and they don't need a quarterback, so they could trade back to somebody. It's a good Monday to be a Philadelphian or a Chicago.
Well, let me hit you with this, Marshall. You can there's a lot of things you can look at on a football team, but 2 basic tenets. If you have a good quarterback and you have a pass rush, you got a chance to be a pretty good team. And they were both on full display. I know Jalen made a couple mistakes early. One that's not necessarily his fault, but the pass rush is ferocious. And that dude doesn't sweat anything. He's got amnesia and he just makes plays. So there's so many reasons to be optimistic here if you're an Eagles fan.
Yeah, I'll say this. He has what seems to be that cornerback mentality, an all-pro cornerback. Occasionally I'm going to get burned. I'm going to make a mistake, whatever. We got to line up and do it again, and I got to do better next time. Like Jalen Hurts, laser focused. Now, what was interesting to me is he talked about how he couldn't feel his hands when he came out.
Yeah.
So it was 18 degrees at kickoff, wind chill of 3 degrees. It's going to be even worse this week when Buffalo comes to town. They're calling for somewhere between 18 to 28 inches of snow.
Where, in Chicago?
What? Yeah. It's a premature model. Until we're 72 hours out, that's when you get the real forecast. But that's what was on the 7-day last night when I was in studio, and I was like, man, y'all catch me inside, not catch me outside. Catch me inside. How about that?
Forget that mess.
So based on what you guys are looking at with the quarterback play, he's got weapons. The pass rush is just ferocious. Back to what I was saying about Hurts, he said he couldn't feel his hands, and that's why some of his touch passes for both quarterbacks were a little bit off, I think, in that game. Passes you're like, why did he not make that play? But at the end of the job, he lays one in there to A.J. Brown over Jalen Johnson, who had 3 pass breakups. The Bears are not as good as the Eagles. They don't have as much talent. I just thought it was a perfect storm, and now the Eagles weathered that. Ain't nobody got to worry about them getting up for Michael Parsons and them. They get number 1 team with a win over Dallas. You set it up right there.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show the Eagles know how to win. They know how to take adversity and punch back. You know what I'm saying? They can counter punch adversity. And that's the big thing. The adversity was you had a Chicago Bear team that had 2 weeks to develop a game plan in which they made Jalen Hurts pull the ball from Miles Sanders, which, you know, basically just kept him from being a huge factor in the first half. All they did was just keep him doing it by crashing the end and then having the linebackers, you know, kind of mirror wherever Jalen went. And it worked for the first half until the second half they started handing it off. Excuse me. But, I mean, the biggest thing is they took adverse conditions as far as weather being, you know, so cold, you know what I'm saying, he couldn't even touch. You know, and I tell people this all the time. When you're cold out there, there's nobody who loves cold weather. If they say they do, they're lying. Even offensive linemen hate cold weather. We're out there with no sleeves on like some damn nuts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for mental purposes, right, Barry?
Right.
You're like, yeah, it's cold, and we got job to do.
It's not like we liking it. Like I'm not going to the club chilling in a cutoff shirt. You know what I'm saying? It's just not happening. But you know, you have to take that adversity and learn from it and become what I think this was a learning experience for this team. They learned, all right, don't look past anybody. Regardless of the matchup you're about to have, you can't look past anybody. We fought through, we won the game. Dallas, they couldn't fight through it. They lost the game. Period.
Dallas blew a 17-point lead in that game.
Yeah, I mean,
that tells you how much of a sieve their defense.
Look no further than the Chiefs that had to survive the Texans, who we were talking about a little bit earlier in overtime. It happens every week. This stuff.
That's why the NFL is the greatest. You know, in a time in which we take not for granted, but like sports comes on all the time. I hate the whole week build up to get to the next game.
Exactly.
Gunner knows I hate covering football for that very specific reason. My ADHD kicks in. I was like, I need a game to talk about today. Like, I don't want to spend 3 or 4 days talking about the last game and then another 3 or 4 days talking about the next game. But for fans who for 17 weeks, they're just like up on their, like, you get ready for game day. It becomes an event. It becomes like an old school gladiator matchup, and it doesn't happen every day. So it's not an everyday thing. So you don't take it for granted because you only got 8 or 9 home games and experiences where you get with your people, you go support your team. And then of course the playoffs is a whole different animal, but like the NFL, they're kind of genius. Like, and they're not the best league in the world because like the way they handle things and do things and like no fun league. But at the end of the day, ain't nobody really walking away and saying, I'm not going to watch. You're going to watch.
Yeah. The formula of the wait, the formula of the look back and then the look ahead is brilliant. It's not saturated like anything else. I'm with you, Marshall. Like by Friday, especially in our line of business, it's like, what else can we talk about here, man?
Enough is enough.
But from a fan standpoint, it's that build, man. And then it's the crescendo of the game. I mean, just look at the way this weekend went, how insane these games were from the jump. I mean, from Saturday in Minnesota to close out last night.
Yo, the Minnesota game. I believe you guys have already talked about and everything, but like I was watching that. I was at work and I was just like, I don't know that Minnesota is going to lose this game. Like, I was like, all they got to do, I was like, I know they can score on the Colts. It's just, will they have enough time? And the Colts were just like, here, have an opportunity. Here, have an opportunity. And they just couldn't put them away. I was just amazed by that. By the way, I'm looking at these comments over here, which are hilarious. They're getting on me about talking about Fields being a 1,000-yard rusher. I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty big deal. And I know y'all got 1,000-yard rushers, receivers, quarterbacks scoring 8,000 touchdowns rushing. But I'm just, look, if you put yourself in you know what? This is my one issue with Philadelphia fans, right? They lack empathy. Okay, they really lack empathy because your tunnel vision is so strong. They lack 2 things: they lack empathy and they lack apathy. The apathy thing is my favorite thing because they're never gonna like not stop talking about a team. A team can be terrible, but they're gonna let you know how they feel and they still care. And they're 10-72, but doggone it, these Sixers, what are they gonna do with that first round pick, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they lack empathy. Like, this is hilarious. A year ago, half these people in the comments were on Jalen Hurts' tail.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And now I'm just saying, Justin Fields is in the same position. He has no help.
Right.
He's keeping them in a game with a now 13-1 team, and these cats. Yo, y'all are hilarious.
We don't get with the empathy thing. We don't have that empathy stuff, man.
Yeah, they really. But it's like empathy, like open-ended empathy. It's like you've been through this. If anything, you should understand where these guys are coming from.
But see, you got to explain to them your team, though.
My team, I explained my team very simply.
Right,
The
cold weather team.
I hope we see y'all. Buffalo Bills. I hope we see y'all.
It's been. I ain't gonna lie. It's not him just getting on the band. Since I met him back in 2015, he has been with the Buffalo Bills. I don't see why or how.
Oh, Gunner can validate that.
Ever since that, I used to tease him all the time. I said, "How are you from Birmingham, Alabama?"
Right.
I'm from Huntsville. Let's get it right.
Huntsville.
Capital of the South.
Yeah, Huntsville. How are you from Huntsville, Alabama? You're a Buffalo Bills fan in football. Who's your baseball team?
Chicago White Sox. Because I did live in Birmingham until I was 10. So,
and who's your basketball team?
Run TMC forever, baby. Don Nelson, my favorite coach of all time, first one to 100 wins. Once that man said those words, as a kid, offense, that's what matters.
Hey, I covered Don Nelson for many years.
Yes.
For 5 years, I covered him in Milwaukee. One of my favorite coaches of all time.
He keeps it real. He lets you know it was good.
Yep.
Look, man, I'm from Alabama, okay? I didn't grow up jaded and cursed like certain fans did.
Whoa!
No, it's not like I went around picking winners. I could have been like, I'm a Bulls fan. That's not what I did. Jordan was doing his thing. I was like, my dad took me to Birmingham Barons games. That's how I became a White Sox fan.
Yep.
Don Nelson. Those Warriors teams weren't even good.
What was the build connection?
He lasted for 2 years. People forget. It was only a 2-year thing with Mitch Richmond, Tim Hardaway, and Chris Mullin. But they were exciting. Scoring 135 and giving up 142. But that was exciting to me.
He said Mitch Richmond, K-State's finest, huh?
There you go.
Yes. There you go. That's what I'm saying. But here's the thing. I love Philadelphia fans, and I know secretly deep down y'all love me too, because I love y'all. And I give y'all respect. I stick up for y'all whenever someone says something sideways about the city of Philadelphia. What?
That you do, man. But
all right, Marshall, let me ask you this, because I've asked these two guys this for 2 shows now, and you were in Philadelphia, what, 10 years? How long were you there?
11 years.
Okay, 11 years. So you got a good perspective of it. And I want your perspective, because you always have a different perspective. I've never understood how everybody on the outside looking in has such a disdain for Philadelphia and its teams, more so than any other city I've ever been associated with. From the media standpoint to outside fans looking in, they just refuse to give Philadelphia respect for anything.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, and I think it's a combination of things. It's like New York bias is so strong, no matter where you are. That's where all the decision makers are. That's where the league headquarters are. That's like the New York bias is a real thing. You could see it in the national with the like ESPN. The New York bias, like look at where their personalities are from that are calling the shots and doing things. People are openly talking about my New York Knicks, whether it's Stephen A. Smith or whoever else, Mike Greenberg, like the guys who are like the biggest voices and faces of these national places, they've got East Coast bias. Also, that creates like this little brother syndrome, because it's like Philly, New York. Philly's not New York. It will never be New York. And I don't want to live in New York. I love Philly. Like people are like, do you want to go work in New York? I was like, why? So I can pay overpriced for everything.
Yep.
And then people don't care about sports as much as in New York as they do in Philly. Like I always tell you, there's a pie. And if you take a piece of the pie, how big is the sliver of people that don't care about sports? Like in New York, there's other stuff going on that's like more pressing. Same thing with LA. They're bigger cities. And even here in Chicago, you could be a Cubs fan, you could be a White Sox fan. In Philly, everyone's united behind the same 4, 5, 6 teams. And I think that's important. And that's what that builds that common, you're not going to talk about us anyway. My favorite story about Philadelphia fandom and kind of trying to relate it to the national types is the story of Gritty. Okay. You guys remember when the Flyers unveiled Gritty?
Yep.
By 9 a.m., everyone in Philadelphia was going off about how awful Gritty was. By noon, those same people were defending Gritty as if he was their grandfather. Okay? And that is Philly in a nutshell right there. Is it not?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't think you're saying anything that's wrong. I think it's a good assessment. I think it's a good assessment.
We're not gonna let anybody else talk about our crazy uncle but us.
Yes.
So we love our crazy uncle. So we don't that's just who it is, bro.
I love my crazy Uncle Gunner.
Wow, that's different. That's a whole different story. Yes. Well, you know, Crazy Uncle Gunner's bringing good food though. At least
Really?
Yeah,
well,
yeah. Look, Gunner knows. I'll side text. I have his wife's number. I'll go right around him.
That's true. Marshall had those ribs. Do you have the ribs, Marshall?
I've had those ribs on more than one occasion, bro.
Me too. But people don't understand. You can't ask Gunner.
No, you can't ask.
Because he's always gonna say no.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? we know where to go.
yeah. I have Gunner's address saved in his contact info. I will stop by the house. He's lucky I come to Philly and I don't have a car. Because if I had a car, I'm down there in Delaware. I know which of the 3 counties you live in, sir.
I did too.
Don't be putting my business out on the street. Don't be putting my business in the street.
Look. That's what the last time he shot me the address, I locked it in and put it in the context. Now it says his name and his address there. So he can't just, unless he just up and moves, I'm there this summer.
Marshall,
get on the new deck.
Marshall, this dude got the nerve. He'll text my daughter, my son-in-law. He got all these numbers now. I'm like, hold up, man.
I'm going.
He collecting gun contact info like Infinity Stones. He's like, I got another one.
Look, I'm about to get.
Re-rip the Gunners.
I'm getting a pole bar built. I've been texting his son-in-law for the past 3 days about this pole barn he got. You know what I mean? So we've been texting back and forth about the pole barn and the process he went through.
I'm like, leave my family alone, man. We ain't do nothing to you.
Oh my God.
It's like, to me, it's always like church and state. Right. I keep work and business, work and pleasure separate. That's just my MO. But you two assassins found a way to slip behind the back door. You two assassins. Oh, I got Trisha's number. I got the kids' numbers. I got Trisha's number. I'm like,
I'm a giver of life, not a taker of life, Gunner. I give people life wherever I go. That's what I try to do. Hopefully I've enriched yours.
Look, both of y'all, man. Anytime I think of both of you, it's that song "Slipping in the Darkness." That's what I think. Yes, both of them.
Slipping in the dark.
Yeah, y'all both backdoor me, got to my family. You went around me. Not many people can say they can do that.
Oh man,
Marshall,
I appreciate it. Look.
I know you miss these. You miss Gunner's insanity, insanity.
Can we reconnect when the Bills face the Eagles in the Super Bowl, though?
Yes, because that will be the all-timer in terms of craziness. In Arizona's not going to know what hit them with those two crews.
I think Bills will literally ship out their tables with them.
No question about that.
They should
properly tailgate in Glendale.
As they should.
I think the daily fights in the street will be probably tougher than the game. Because the Bills Mafia is crazy. Philadelphia fans are crazy. I think there'll be more swinging in the streets than there will be swinging on the field.
This will be an all-timer. All right, Marshall, it's a date, man. It's a date. Super Bowl week leading up. I'm sure you'll figure out a way to get down there. We'll talk to you from press row or wherever we're going to be or you're going to be. We'll figure it out.
I'm going to look into it. But guys, I just want to say thanks for having me back on. I know people probably thought you're really going to go in there and take the heat. I was like, I'm not worried about that.
I think you'd show up.
There's lost.
Marshall, man. Yeah.
I told you there's no way they were going to get blown out. I did explain that very clearly. Right?
None of us worried about you showing up. Let me put it to you that way.
So no question. I knew you show up.
Yes. Marshall, good job, man. Good hanging with you again.
Derek, I hope y'all have a wonderful and much warmer than me week.
Yes, man.
And
Merry Christmas, happy holidays too.
Hey man, how you come to Philly and don't rent a car, man? That's cheap. How you come to Philly and don't rent a car?
What happened? He's gone.
He just jumped.
He rolled, man. Yeah, he dropped the mic and just got out.
Oh,
he had enough of your questions.
Jeez.
Yes, he did. All right. Again, Marshall's always good sport, man. And look, he
drove to Indiana to get gas this morning because gas is in Chicago. Gas is $4.15. Now, I will say this: downtown Chicago to Gary, Indiana, was only like a 30-minute drive. The problem is because I've driven this road many times. I-94 going through downtown Chicago for the last 30 years is always under construction for 30 years. And Chicago's like it's like a parking lot downtown, mostly any time of the day. I hated that drive when I was in Pittsburgh, and I would drive from Pittsburgh into up to Milwaukee. I would take Interstate 80. Once you got to Illinois, it was I-94. And once you hit downtown Chicago, it didn't make a difference if it was morning, afternoon, or night. You're gonna be stopped in traffic like an hour longer than you should be. Yeah, so he go to Indiana. He went to Indiana to get gas.
God bless him, man. That's awesome.
I'm telling you, man. Marshall gonna save $1. That dude, you take $1 out of his pocket, he has sunglasses on, man. I'm telling you.
I love
He's seen the sun in weeks.
I love it. All right. We're going to come back and we're going to get into all the craziness that was at all the games. And we're not done with the Eagles, too. We will circle back to the Eagles as well. But there was a lot of stuff that went down. Let's start with the Cowboys when we come back, who coughed it up in overtime. Dougie P still paying dividends, man.
Yeah, he is.
Still doing his thing. Did you see him after that on the sidelines after they scored? It was awesome.
He still got the rivalry in him, man. He still got that rivalry.
That'll never leave him, Barrett. That will never, ever leave him. That's for sure. All right, we'll come back and we'll hit that and all the other stuff in the NFL. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, I'm going to talk Razor technology with you right now because IT infrastructure environments are more complex and heterogeneous than ever before. Consequently, teams struggle to respond to pressing issues with the speed necessary to promote positive business results. And the data that powers predictive monitoring and automation is often left unexploited. Razor Technology addresses this challenge with a holistic approach that connects every part of an organization's technology assets, enabling proactive and secure IT operations without sacrificing the agility that drives innovation. Razor Technology automates monitoring and management to bolster IT teams that are feeling stretched thin. And it improves auditing and reporting procedures so that actionable insights find their way to the leaders that need them most. Save time and money on your IT and cloud services and secure organizations with leading end-to-end infrastructure solutions by calling Razor Tech today at 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit them online at razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Rams starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
Back. What's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging out with us on this Monday makes Mondays a lot easier, right? When the Eagles win, that's for sure. Just wrap things up with Marshall Harris. If you missed any of it, you can check it out at jakibsports.com or JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. Sorry, Gunnar, go ahead.
So I go to his front door, and one of a million packages being delivered here.
Yep.
I don't know why I did it. So I got up and go to the door. I get the package. The guy said, "Hey, you're Derek Gunn." So he wants to talk, right? And I'm trying to be nice, and I'm like, "Dude, I hate to cut you short, but I got to get back. I'm doing a show." "Oh yeah, what's the show?" And you, Rob Ellis and Barrett Brooks. "Oh man, how can I watch the show?" And I'm thinking, okay, so I got to tell him.
You have to tell him. You got to tell him.
I got to tell him.
Even if that means you're coming back late, that's okay. You got to tell him.
And it's like, please,
that's good, man.
Please understand.
We just converted somebody.
Yeah, please understand. I got to go. And you don't want to be rude, because I always tell people sometimes the first impression is the most lasting impression you make, no matter what you do. No matter what you try to do later. And so it's like, dude, really, I got to go. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, but what time are you guys on? 12 to 3. Boom, I close the door. I got to go.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a funny one. So my basketball team that I coach, we're playing Saturday night, right? Mm-hmm. And I know one of the officials. He's officiated games that my son and daughter played in for years, so I know the guy. Right? Great guy, big sports fan, big fan of our show, and loves you guys and the whole thing. So he says to me, granted, remember, this is Saturday, okay, before the games are played yesterday. He says to me, so here's the way it works, right? The Eagles win and the Cowboys lose and the Eagles clinch. I'm like, it's not quite. And he's like, no, that's the way it is. And I'm like, and I'm keeping the book. I'm doing this. I'm at the scores table. I'm like, it's not. And he's like, keeps going back and forth. The game is ready to, like, we're coming back from this is during a timeout in the game. So they're about ready to come back. They're inbounding the ball, and there's two officials. The one they've already started play, and he's still debating with me. I'm like, Greg, game's kind of starting up, my man. You might want to get back in there and start officiating again. But people are passionate, man. They're just crazy passionate. Yeah.
And I tell you guys about,
I get it all the time also.
Yeah. I'm sure you do, Barrett. Yeah.
I tell you guys all the time about how I don't order stuff. I let my wife and daughters order all the stuff. So I order a set of tires for my wife's car, and I've been waiting for weeks. Now, last week on Monday, they said the order had been canceled because of lack of inventory. I'm like, what? You wait 3 weeks to tell me this, right? So my daughter who ordered them for me forwards me the email. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So then by Wednesday morning, I get this email, or she gets the email, your package will be delivered Friday. I'm like, what? So sure enough, Friday, UPS rolls up. I'm outside fixing up some of the Christmas decorations for my wife. And a UPS truck rolls up. I see the dude coming out with 2 tires, right? So he puts the 2 tires in front of me on the front step, and he goes, have a good day. I said, hold up. I ordered 4 tires. What are you talking about? He goes, oh, all I had was 2 on my truck. He said, you know what? It's common, though. When people order tires, sometimes the first driver brings 1, 2, or 3, and the other tire is on another truck. And I'm like, what? So here it is Monday. I can't get in. And I get a email from Cooper Tires twice, UPS/Cooper Tires. Your package has been delivered. I sent them emails back 3 times. Where are my other 2 tires? No response. So I don't know where these other 2 tires are now.
Jeez, man.
And my mechanic goes, I told you, do not order automotive stuff through Amazon because it's so iffy. Anything else, clothing, toys, fine. When it comes to automotive stuff, don't do it. And I didn't listen.
Good public service announcement for the rest of us.
I live by it, though.
And Barrett's still going to do it. He doesn't care.
Yeah, I live by it. I'm always doing it. But, I mean, it's just what you get, man, because people know exactly. Like today I'm at the what do you call it, the post office, and I'm opening the door for the older couple, probably in their 70s.
Yeah.
And I open it in, and as I'm walking through, and I'm opening the door for them so I can let them in, and I'm trying to leave, and the guy's Barrett Brooks. I'm like, yeah, we're talking. Yeah. Oh, I love watching you on the post game show. Yeah. Sometimes, you know what? I didn't think I was gonna with Seth being gone, and I'm like, the Hall of Fame. I'm like, yeah, I understand. Yeah, this dude for about 2 or 3 minutes. Had me open. It was a line that was forming outside the post office.
Yeah, trying to get
his
in.
wife.
Yeah.
And his wife said, "Yeah, he watches you all the time." She might have said that 10 times. Yeah, he watches you all. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I see people behind him like, and he stayed talking to me. I was, all right. So finally he said, all right, well, I got to go on in here. You know, I got to go in. I let him go on in. I was like, okay, because I can't not talk to him.
Yeah.
That's nice. See, that's nice. That's nice. That's what it's all about, though. Honestly, that is what it's all about. We are very fortunate. That's for sure.
Exactly.
All right, so let's hit a couple things here, guys. Let's start because this almost coincided. Like the Eagles game ends. I went on the air with post game. I'm sure you guys did the same thing. And literally, the interception happens in Jacksonville, and they go on and they walk it off and they win the game. It was a pretty wild sequence, you know, and that was the sort of end result. But the Cowboys were up big. They completely coughed that game up to Jacksonville. This is why, and it's not just the Cowboy weasels, but like this notion that Dallas, I think ESPN still has them ahead of the Eagles in the rankings. It's just fraudulent.
Come on, dude.
It's just fraudulent.
They still got us at number 4.
No,
we're not even number 2. We're number 4.
Wait, is it on ESPN.com right now?
Yeah, you can find it. Yeah, I've had a bunch of people shoot it to me today. Like,
come on, man, you gotta be kidding me.
I'm telling you.
Yes,
man.
I'm telling you right now.
I told you, man, the disrespect is real for the city and its teams, man. I don't get it. I just do not get it. I've never understood that.
I don't get it either.
Wow.
But you know, they were up big. Dak's got a turnover problem, you know, and combine that with the fact that, you know, Jacksonville has started to get real tough, you know, and the quarterback for them is playing extremely well. He really is. Trevor Lawrence is playing real well, man.
That's all Doug, man. Doug's got the team. I mean, because they've been through hell, man. Yeah, they've been through hell. Now they got a coach that really cares about them. I mean, it's easy to go out there and play for a guy that has your back.
Urban Meyer's torched that team, man.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
He almost broke him down, man. He almost broke him down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, initially when I saw the pick, you know, because we got the monitors behind us, and all of a sudden there's this scream at everybody watching game. Oh, and I turn around and I see the DB running for the touchdown. I'm thinking Zach just threw another pick. Mm-hmm. Then later in the evening, I saw the replay where Noah Brown hit the ground, ball popped up, and you know Noah Brown, you know, he's a good quality young receiver, but you got to make that catch. It's not like it was minus 20 degrees. You got to make that catch. You down to Jacksonville, bro.
Yep.
You got to secure that ball. I mean, one of those fluke plays, but luckily it happened to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so put a little more distance between themselves and the Eagles.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful thing, man. And again, you know, I don't think I know it may take a little shine off of for some, not for me. And I think if you're the Eagles, you still have something technically to play for, man. You got to go all out, finish them off.
Oh, you
finish them off.
I mean, because Minnesota's only 2 games behind you, but
yeah, Minnesota winning keeps it interesting.
What a better Christmas Eve than to go down to Dallas and lock up the number 1 seed in Dallas and knock off the Cowboys for a second straight time on national TV.
It would be beautiful, wouldn't it?
Perfect Christmas Eve.
It would be. It would be a beautiful thing, man. But yeah, as we mentioned, Dak 9 interceptions since week 10. He's turned the ball over, you know, quite a bit. Dallas is just inconsistent. And all right, so let me ask you guys this hypothetically, because we talked about this a little bit last week. If the Eagles were to win on Saturday and lock it up, what do you do? New Orleans and Giants game.
You got to play your
in terms
guys,
of playing your guys. I'm saying
you got to play them. You can't have these guys not playing 2-3 weeks. You know, you got to play them. You can't have your frontline guys sitting because they get a first round bye. Are you going to sit them for 3 weeks?
Yeah,
you can't.
I'm not either. They're playing the first half for me in both games
at least.
Yeah.
Now that last game is a little different. I might get them play a series or 2 and then get them the heck out of there, especially if we have nothing to play for. I'll get them out of there in a hurry. But you cannot have these dudes sitting for 2, 3, 4 weeks.
You know what the other thought is that's interesting, but I don't know. So there are people looking at it. You know how the Eagles have New Orleans pick, right?
Right.
So you want New Orleans to keep losing.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Right now the pick is at 9.
I'll give you someone floated.
Wait, it dropped to 9? I thought it was 5.
9.
Is it 9 now?
It dropped down
today. They just won today. They're a game away from being. Yeah. They're a game away from being in the playoffs, man.
What? Yeah, I know. That
if Tampa Bay keeps losing, they have a legitimate shot of making the playoffs.
There are some bad divisions, man. And the NFC and AFC South are horrendous, like embarrassing.
Oh no,
how bad they are. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Barrett's
5,
right.
6. Barrett's dead on. And they're in a dogfight with a bunch of teams. Like Carolina's 5-9.
Green Bay's
5-8. They play tonight. You know, this thing's tight. Atlanta's 5-9. So it could go a lot of different ways here, this pick. But
Indy 4-9-1, Rams 4-9. Ooh.
By the way, Indy just lost Jonathan Taylor for the rest of the year with a high ankle. Not that it matters; they're cooked anyway. But you know, for what it's worth, somebody floated this at me though, which I thought was absurd. They're like, you know, this week, don't really play your starters, and if you lose this week, it's okay. But concentrate next week on New Orleans because you get the double dip. You win the game and you're in. And you make it worse for them with the pick that you have. I'm like, you're way out thinking yourself, man.
No.
You're way out thinking yourself,
bro.
With this.
Come on, man. You know we have to be logical about this. Do we really think that this Eagles team is going to play their players? No.
Are you talking about beyond this week? You're not saying
beyond Dallas.
Barrett, I fear that you're right, but I'm in the camp of you can't have your guys sitting for 3 weeks and expect them to be fresh as daisies and on their game come playoff time. I just think it's really dangerous, man. I agree with you, but I think it's really dangerous.
If the Eagles lose this game Saturday, you have to play your guys the next week against New Orleans. You have to.
Well, they're not going to lose it. They're not going to lose.
I'm not saying it. I'm saying if they lost to Dallas, you have to play against New Orleans because you only have a 1-game lead over Minnesota. Even though you have the tiebreaker against Minnesota, you got to play. You got to play these dudes, man.
Yep, you do. You do. You got to play them.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to lose our edge. But they've shown the capacity not to lose an edge when it comes to playing in games that really count.
Right.
They don't lose their edge, but I played it. I was on a team that was 15-1. We were 15-1, and we didn't make it to the Super Bowl because we lost the eventual Super Bowl champion Patriots because they cheated, but they still won.
Yeah.
But that's something that that's something, man. That's tough, man, to deal with because how do you differentiate it against a guy who needs the reps,
right?
Especially a young guy that's playing that may need to play more. Like Dickerson needs to play more, but he's been hurt, so maybe you rest him a little bit. Of course, everybody else on the offensive line you can kind of rest, but Dickerson needs to play. If those guys don't play, then you definitely can't play your quarterback.
Yeah,
right.
Now
your quarterback doesn't play.
You're right. It's right. You can't play. It's got to be. It's one or all. It's all or nothing as far as that goes.
Yes.
For sure. But it is going to be. Look, this is a good problem. Let's be clear. To have.
Yeah.
But it's going to be one that's going to be scrutinized, man, and talked about quite a bit. But look, we're probably getting a little ahead of ourselves. They got to take care of business against the Cowboys. So the Cowboys win. Or lose, excuse me, which is huge. Real quick, just to throw this out there. So since week 9, Trevor Lawrence, 14 touchdowns, 1 pick, a 111 passer rating, and he's completing 70.4% of his passes. You don't think Doug Peterson has a big influence over that?
No question about it.
So Doug P deserves some props, man, for what's going on there. He's done a great job. And don't look now, on top of everything else, but Tennessee lost again. Jacksonville's 1 game back of them.
Yep.
In the AFC South.
He might win. He might win to get in the playoffs, huh?
Not crazy.
Yeah.
Tennessee's lost 4 straight. And
he runs the table. He's 9-8.
Yep. So anyway,
isn't that crazy?
Huh?
Isn't that crazy?
It is. It's that kind of year though. But keep your eye on them. They're not done. Think about how bad Lawrence looked and how bad that team looked when the Eagles played them.
How about
what they are now?
How about the Steelers may still be in this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's not crazy. They're 6-8. They got a shot. I mean, the wildest thing is the NFC South. So the division leader, who will have a home game right now, is 6-8.
Yeah.
Okay. The Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints, and the Atlanta Falcons, all 5-9, have a chance. They're not dead yet.
I would say the best chance of the bunch would be the Saints right now.
Yeah.
The way they're playing, I would say that game, I can't believe Todd Bowles' defense gave up 31 consecutive points like that. I'm just shocked at a Todd Bowles defense. That's so uncustomary for him. And it's like they've got their personnel back, and they still gave up 31 points.
They're
right.
not
Both linebackers are playing.
Yes.
Both nose tackles are playing. I mean, what is going on?
We give them the out all the time with the injuries, man. They're pretty healthy, so there's no excuses for what Tampa's doing. They're just not that good.
No.
You know,
they jumped out to that 17-0 lead, and it was like that was it. They shot their best shot, and that was it.
Brady turned it over 4 times yesterday. Like, he's had a pretty good year considering he hasn't a lot of help, but he played terrible yesterday.
Unbelievable.
So yeah, and that was interesting the way that they're playing out. We had a crazy one last night with the Giants and the Commanders. We touched on it before Marshall jumped on. There was absolutely pass interference that wasn't called there, but nonetheless, the Giants needed it bad. And I give Saquon looked like Saquon from earlier in the year.
Yeah, he did.
And Daniel Jones played pretty darn good, all things considered. So
Saquon had 2 consecutive runs up the middle where he did that spin move and picked up an additional 5-6 yards. I'm like, that's the Saquon I used to watch at Penn State.
Yeah.
That dude, oh my goodness.
Officiating around the league just sucked, man, for a
It does.
good majority of the time. Because, I mean, Tre'Davious White, yes, he is a good cornerback, but he interfered in pass interference all day long, and they just wouldn't call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They wouldn't call it.
Mm-hmm.
They just let him grab guys and pull guys and everything. I'm like, what the hell is that, man?
It reminds me of Tampa Bay a few years ago when they won the Super Bowl. The back end of their defense were professional thugs.
Yep.
They held on every pass play, never got called for it. Everybody else did but them. And Stephon Gilmore, he is notorious for getting away with that, man.
Yep.
He grabs people all the time. They never call it on Stephon Gilmore. I just
They don't call it on White either. You know, he was grabbing guys and holding guys and getting there before the ball was. And
unbelievable.
And Waddle was like, I mean, you saw the same thing. I'm looking straight at you when it happened,
right?
And you're just not gonna call it,
right?
I mean, I thought Jalen Waddle was gonna go over there and take the flag out himself and throw it down, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. Listen, you're right. You're absolutely right. It is just so wildly inconsistent. That's the problem. And then again, like I was saying right before Marshall came on, for like Collinsworth floats it, they just don't want to throw the flag in that spot. You threw a flag 2 plays earlier on Washington. For nonsense. Like Terry McLaurin, like every receiver does, was trying to check with the line judge to see if he was lined up right. And the guy never gave him any kind of acknowledgement. So he just stayed there and they called, I don't know, whatever. It's crazy. All right, let's go to the Vikings here real quick because we touched on it earlier. But the funniest thing was Justin Jefferson comes in at halftime and says to Kirk Cousins, "Hey, man, we only need 5 touchdowns." And Kirk Cousins was like, "Only?" But he was right. Kirk Cousins threw for 400 yards in the second half. That's
crazy, man. That is crazy. How do you lose that game? I mean, come on. I thought it was a foregone conclusion. I'm texting you guys like, "Oh, there it is. It's not Monday. It's not Sunday at 1:00.
Yeah.
So you know he's gonna be bad. And what does he do? Come out that second half, he starts lighting them up. He couldn't stop him.
No,
against a decent Colts defense on top of that.
Yeah. A Colts defense that held them in check in the first half, right? And then they just went nuts. They've had some of the worst losses. I mean, you look at some of the Colts losses. So they lost to. I'm trying to think. There's some bad losses anyway, but nonetheless, no need to dive too.
Well, you look at how they hold an explosive offense like the Eagles to 17 points.
Yeah,
they get blown out against Dallas, and then they get blown out in the second half against Minnesota. You talk about a Jekyll and Hyde defense. My goodness.
Yeah, impossible to figure them out, right?
It's crazy, man. That's absolutely ridiculous. I'd expect more from. I mean, did we really think we were going to get anything substantial from a quarterback, from a head coach that's never been a coordinator before?
True.
Who's never been a position coach before? He's never been a position coach.
No,
never.
No, I know.
Never. He's never been an NFL coach.
Ursay's getting exactly what he deserves.
Not even a college coach.
Yeah, he's getting exactly what he deserves.
Absolutely.
And credit to the Vikings. They did not quit, man. And they're right in this thing. That's why the Eagles need to take care of their business. All right, the Raiders. I mean, you don't see these kind of things against the Bill Belichick team. Now to be fair to Belichick, the players acted under their own accord. This was not designed for all the lateraling and all the other stuff. They completely ad-libbed this thing. And every player to a man said it too. Okay. But it's a tie game. You're not losing. You don't have to do that. Go to overtime.
All the running back had to do was sit down.
And laterals it back to Jacoby Myers, who I don't know what in God's name he's thinking. He throws it back to the middle of the field. Chandler Jones is just like, it's Christmas a week early. Thank you. And then
you see the stiff arm he put on Mac.
He trucked Mac Jones.
He planted his face all in the dirt, man.
Oh my God, man. And then that's how you lose. And you're still in playoff contention. That's the other part of this thing. New England is right there going into the game yesterday. They're now the Patriots on the outside looking into the Dolphins at 7-7. Had they won that game or even tied it, it's crazy. It's crazy.
If I'm Belichick, I'm telling Matt Patricia, you know what? You take this team the rest of the season. I'm done. I can't take this anymore. My heart can't take this anymore. I'm done.
I do wonder. Don't you wonder with him? Like, he's such a lifer. I don't think he walks away, but
I don't either.
Man, this year's had to be tough. There's been a lot of stuff this year. A lot of difficult losses.
His life is the game.
Yeah.
He doesn't do much outside of the game. He's not married. His life is football. And I do believe he just loves the ambiance of going into a practice facility, game day, tutoring young men. I can't see him walking away. I think you're going to have to push him out the door.
I'm with you. I'm with you with that. How about the Lions, man? 6 of 7 now. And Jared Goff making a push for comeback player of the year. He's playing amazing. And, we all laughed at the knee biter, man, but Dan Campbell has put these dudes in a position to be a playoff team. It's unbelievable. I mean, so right now they're 7-7 and Washington's in the last spot at 7-6-1. They could very well get in.
I'm telling you, Detroit's that team you don't want to see get in the playoffs.
No.
I'm telling you.
Bro, they got the second best offensive line in the NFL.
Yep.
Yes.
And weapons, man. St. Brown's a monster. They have a good running attack. They're good, man.
They finally got their number 1 pick healthy. Took them all year. The number 1 receiver.
Yeah, Jameson Williams.
Jameson Williams is finally back. This team is ridiculous now, how they're winning games. And you're right, Jared Goff is lighting it up. I'm looking at his numbers. Get this. In the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, 4, 6, 8, 9 touchdown passes, no interceptions.
Yeah, he doesn't turn it over.
Nope. Hasn't turned the ball over since the Green Bay game when he threw 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. And that was back on November 6th. So he hasn't thrown a pick since November 6th, over a month
and a half. Yeah. Guys played unbelievable. Nobody saw that coming. I got to tell you, I thought they'd be better because they played a lot of close games this year. I didn't think Goff would take his game to where it's at. So
he's taking it to another level, man. Goff is playing. He has receivers that can go out there and get it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Williams is back.
Yep.
Pick your poison. I thought what they traded Hawkinson. I thought it was over for him. I thought they were just selling
white flag. I thought it was a white flag, man.
Yeah, and then what does he do? He goes out there and starts really balling. I mean, Jamal Williams has 14
rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, Swift does his thing. I mean, it's a nice combo. They
nice
have
combo. DJ Chark is balling right now.
Mm-hmm.
Different stuff. And I laugh about what's
Aaron
Malcolm
Glenn
Rodriguez.
Aaron
Glenn too. Rodrigo. Yeah, Rodrigo.
Oh yeah, you were dogging Rodrigo.
Mm-hmm.
He's balling.
Yeah, he's good. Look, and then the flip side is the Jets, who Saleh completely and the coordinator completely mismanaged the end of the game. They take a timeout with them. They had one in their pocket, and they end up having to kick a 50-some-odd yard field goal. Had they parsed their time better, they're making that a more doable field goal. It was terrible time management, and the MILF Slayer, he's just not that guy. I don't think, man.
He's just not good.
The MILF Slayer.
Nah,
he's never been. He's never been to me, Rob. He's always been a guy that I thought was going to be, whoever picked him up was going to make a mistake. And I really thought the Eagles were going to do it. I'm like, man, please don't pick this guy up. Yep. He is not what people think he is. Yeah. He was at BYU, and he was just a guy that played frenetically and couldn't go out there and make a play. Yeah. I mean, every once in a while he get lucky and throw the ball up, and the receivers running wide open underneath it. Mm-hmm. They don't play defense in the Pac-12,
right?
So he played against so many Pac-12 teams that didn't play defense.
Yeah. That's the thing, man. The Jets have a really good defense. Like, do you know they didn't even attempt one pass Sauce Gardner's way yesterday? Like, that's what he's become.
Respect.
But they got a problem at the quarterback spot. I will tell you. Maybe Mike White's the guy. I don't know, but he's banged up with the ribs. So, interesting there. Chiefs survive in overtime against the Texans.
Survive.
Oof, man. Kansas City's been a little up and down too. For as much as we just chalk them into, whatever. I know they'll be better come playoff time, but they're not quite as great.
Their defense sucks, man. If it weren't for Sean Jones in the middle, that defense would be porous at best.
Yeah. They got some problems. The game Saturday was really fun to watch, especially when it started snowing in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
With the Bills and the Dolphins, and I do give Miami a lot of credit. I think we all sort of thought they're not even going to want to show up there in the cold, and they played well. They did.
I tell you what, that was like a playoff game. The way they went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yep.
But you're right. Miami showed that they don't care about the conditions. With the weapons we have, we can compete with anybody. Now, they fell 3 points short. That last pass that Josh Allen threw rolling out to his right, the dart down the sideline would set him up in the field goal position. My goodness. On a cold night like that, I mean, he threw a laser down the sideline in between two defenders.
Yeah.
Receiver made a great catch. But I think either one of those teams can oust Kansas City, to be honest. Either one, Miami or Buffalo. And it doesn't make a difference where they play those games. The talent on both sides of the ball for those teams is just good enough. They can go toe-to-toe with Kansas City anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, I think the AFC is a little more wide open than maybe people make it out to be. But we'll see. It's gonna be fun to watch. That's for sure. You look out to Bengals, man. That we should probably throw them in that mix. They just keep it coming, man. They turned it on like a faucet yesterday. 31 points in the second half, as we talked about with the Bucks, but they're certifiably hot too. Since he is,
so they'll win the division. I think that team's trying to do the same thing they did last year, man.
Yep.
Get hot at the right time.
Yeah, Barrett, you're right. I mean, right now they're up to the third best record. I mean, the Bills are 11-3, the Chiefs are 11-3, Cincinnati's 10-4. They're right there. Yeah. So somebody slips up, man. They can creep their way up.
Cincinnati's now your 3 seed. They were the 5 seed. Baltimore slipped down to the 5 seed. Cincinnati's up to the 3 seed. And if Kansas City keeps stumbling the way they have, they could be the 2 seed.
Absolutely.
Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. So the way it's shaping out now. So right now it's Buffalo bye week. Kansas City would take on the Dolphins. That's a nice early matchup right there.
Ooh.
Cincinnati would get the Chargers, who won yesterday too. And Bengals and Titans would be the 3. I'm sorry. The 2-7 would be Kansas City and Miami. The 3-6 would be the Bengals and the Chargers, and your 4-5 is the Titans and the Ravens. So they would be your matchups today, as of right now.
Chargers will be one and done.
Yeah, I hear you.
They're one and done. That team, for whatever reason, can't get out from under a dark cloud. They can't go anywhere, do anything.
Yeah,
doesn't make a difference. But if they got to the playoffs, fine. But they'll be a first round exit for sure.
So the NFC, the Eagles would get the bye. The 2-7 Minnesota, Washington, 3-6 San Fran Giants, 4-5 Bucks Cowboys. So as of right now, because Tampa's winning that garbage division, they would get a home game. And the Cowboys would have to go on the road. Yeah. Yep.
Well, Dallas will get one win. Then they'll buy out. Dak will buy out in the second round.
I don't think they beat Brady.
You don't think so?
No.
Maybe Brady can turn it on enough.
They can't run the football. I don't want to face Brady in the playoff scenario.
I'm with you with that. Like, I'd rather him just be. I'd rather somebody else win the South. Frankly.
Yeah, really. I'd rather see the
I'm being real here. As much as we just shredded them.
Yeah.
Well, the Saints almost beat Dallas. They almost beat Dallas. Dallas had to pull them from behind.
Uh-huh.
So,
all right, let me look at the Saints here. So
I don't worry about them, though. That's one thing I don't worry about them.
All right,
I'm not even worried about your 49ers.
New Orleans has Cleveland. They're at Cleveland. Then the Eagles here. And then they're home for Carolina. Now, the Eagles may not, play hard in that game or rest guys. Cleveland, I don't know. I mean, Watson's been back for a couple games now. And then
they beat the Ravens, though.
Yeah.
I didn't think that the Ravens would be as bad as they look. They look bad.
I'm disappointed in them, man, in general.
They look bad.
And I know Lamar didn't play. I'm disappointed.
Right. They just look really bad, man. All aspect of their game.
Yeah.
They didn't look like they belonged on the same field with Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland ran the ball when they wanted to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That defense looked like they were swarming defense against Baltimore's offense. It was just a bad loss for them, a real bad loss for them.
No question. And then tonight, you have the Rams at the Packers. The Packers are 7.5-point favorites. Mayfield's second game as the starter for the Rams. We know how the other game went. He played well with no time to prepare. Green Bay 5-8. It's been a disaster for both of these teams. You got a 4-9 Rams and a 5-8 Packers.
And the Packers just cut Sammy Watkins today. So they're done. They're done.
Yeah.
Both of these teams are done. So, I'll watch the game, but I'll watch it with a very numb feeling. There will be no excitement on my part watching this game tonight.
Well, this is one where you can't fault the schedule makers. I mean, this looked like it was going to be a good game, but it's, crap.
We talk about the NFL and how they schedule things when Marshall was on, and I wanted to bring up, I think the NFL does an incredible job of foreseeing down the road in the future when they come up with their schedules. Like this Friday, the 23rd, is the 50th year anniversary of the Immaculate Reception.
Right.
So what game do they have this weekend? Raiders against the Steelers.
Exactly.
I mean, are you kidding me? You couldn't ask for a better scenario, man.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. So many things in that game. Franco makes an unbelievable play to field it. Then there's all the controversy where one of the referees is on a phone in the dugout back then at Three River Stadium. And they're saying the whole controversy was the ref was saying, like, to the league office, like, what do we do? And the league office was like, well, what's the scene look like there? He's like, there's Steeler fans all over the place. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out of here. Then say it was a touchdown. All right, it's a touchdown. And he goes back up and then, but there are Raiders fans. Like John Madden to the day he died was pissed about that game.
Well, one of the best stories I heard pertaining to that game was, and I believe it was a Steeler player who told the story, that the ref was looking at the cops on the field at the sideline and basically said, if we call this incomplete, will you get us out of here? And they said, nope. Okay, that's all we need to know.
Yes.
That was like the game in New Orleans. Was the playoff game in New Orleans, a big game in New Orleans, and who was a kicker that missed a kick for?
Was it Morton Anderson? No.
This was like maybe 5-6 years ago because I tweeted it out, and I'm standing right there, and people in the tunnel, hey, will you get so and so out of here? Was it Chicago?
Oh, you're talking about the double doink.
Maybe it was a double. Yeah, maybe that was a kick in
Cody
Chicago.
Cody
Parkey. Yeah, and I'm standing right there, and people are talking to the cops walking up the tunnel. And they said, hey, will you get Cody Parkey safely home? And they said, nope. These were state troopers, and we're dying laughing in the tunnel.
Bro,
the cops were so ticked off that they lost that game.
Oh,
bro, I'll tell you one better than that. I'm playing with the Giants at the time, and it was a playoff game. We're playing in San Fran. And like the week before, our starting center, Bober, he was hurt or something. So we bring in this long snapper named Trey Junkins. Trey Junkins is like his 17th, 18th year in the league.
Washington, wasn't he, for a long time?
Right, yeah, for all those years, long snapper. He's like one of the best in the business. And but he set out the whole year. He retired, set out the whole year. but they gave him an opportunity to come back and be a snap for us because we're going into the playoffs. It's a playoff game,
right?
So he comes into the meeting room. We don't know who he is or anything else. We don't know who the heck this dude is. He comes into the locker room, and everybody's quiet. Like, okay, he comes in. He's gonna say, "Well, I don't know how you guys used to special teams being played, but hey, I'm here now." And everybody looked at, "Ooh, okay, yeah, like okay, you the man, huh? All right, cool. I know you better be snapping this right. Okay, all right." So
my God,
we get in the game now. All through practice, he's throwing dimes.
Yeah, right on the money. Yeah,
bam, bam, hit it, bam, bam. We get in the game. The first one he snaps, it like drills on the ground. Like, hey, we still get it off.
Right.
His punter still punts it. It comes to the last play, and first of all, we were whooping this. We was killing San Fran in the first half. We were up on them, and all of a sudden, that second half, T.O. went off. Yeah. So we're still winning, but it comes to we're losing at this point, and then we have to kick this field goal. If we kick this field goal, we win the game.
Right.
Long story long, this dude snaps the ball. It goes everywhere. They pick up the ball. They try to throw it down the field. It was actually a holding call because they pulled our tight end
the
down.
guy who was trying to catch it. Yeah, I remember.
They just pulled him down.
Yeah.
And they didn't call or anything. We ended up losing the game.
Oh.
As we're walking in, I'm walking next to Strahan, and Chunkins is walking in. Oh no, you MF, you're not coming in this locker room. You don't belong. You talk all that stuff about you doing such things. If you go in there, I'm gonna whoop your. I mean, it was bad. Me and Michael Barrow was holding Strahan. He was trying his best to get to him. You better not come in this effing locker room. I'm gonna kill you. You better not come in this locker room. And he did not come in the locker room. In fact, he did not get on the plane. They flew him away. They had to fly him off on another plane. And to this day, man, he's still screwed up about it, dog. He's still screwed up, man.
Wow.
Yeah, man. That's his last game, man. He just totally messed it all up, bro.
Okay.
Strahan was gonna kill him. He wouldn't let him in the locker room or on the plane.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. Awesome story, man. Wow. All right, let's soak that one in for a minute. Let's take a break, and we'll come back. We'll hit a little World Cup because we had a classic yesterday, that's for sure. Joker gets his name in the record books, and we got some killer birthdays and movies, guys. We got some really good ones. So we'll hit all that when we return. Sixers in action tonight. Little Flyers news as well. Don't go anywhere. D Gunn, B Brooks, R Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Right back.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Rams starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back in. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, gonna be hopping on in a minute. All right, let me hit you with a couple Flyers things. Cam Atkinson is done for the season. He's getting neck surgery. This team, in addition to being bad, has bad luck too. Like, they have had a ton of injuries, but he's done. He's cooked. The other interesting development, there's been a couple of healthy scratches here for Kevin Hayes, who's probably the Flyers' most productive player. He's got 29 points in 31 games. Like, he can still play.
Yeah.
Which has led to speculation that they're about to buy him out. He's got a limited no trade clause, and the thought from a lot of people around the league is they're going to buy him out.
Why?
I don't know. It seems like he and Tortorella don't get along. This is the problem with Tortorella.
I'm not surprised.
Like, here's the problem. As much as he's going to take he's going to be the distraction and go off on media members and all that stuff, he butts heads with guys, and, we'll see. But he's got 3 years left on his deal. It's a cap-friendly hit that they would have to take. So there's speculation that may end up happening. But they're in a world of hurt as an organization. They're a mess. So anyway, there's the Flyers. So Sixers. They host the Raptors tonight. Still no Maxey, but should have the full complement here. Other than that, I guess the Raptors that are okay.
Nothing special.
Nothing special. Yeah, they're just actually they're less than special. They're 13-17. Sixers are 16-12. So Sixers should be able to take care of business at their place today.
And the Sixers are 4-0 in a 7-game homestand. So
they're playing better.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
playing better.
And to do this without Maxey, they deserve props. They've done a nice job. Embiid's been phenomenal. So on top of it.
Yeah, he has. He's been better than okay.
Yeah, he certainly has, man, for sure. Sunday, it ended at like 12:57 Eastern. But I'm sitting there. I got Fox on. You guys were, already doing your thing, but I'm sitting there waiting for the game to come on, and the World Cup match between France and Argentina goes overtimes and then goes into kicks. And you're saying to yourself, oh my God, first of all, the game was nuts. I mean, there were great saves, great comebacks, Messi making plays, the best guy in the world making plays on the biggest stage. It was insane. It was all you could have wanted, man. Argentina ends up winning in kicks. And it was incredible.
Well, first of all, the way it happened, what's his name?
Messi?
Lionel Messi.
No, not Lionel Messi. The other guy from France.
Mbappe.
Mbappe.
He's a beast.
First of all, he gets the penalty kick.
Yep.
Makes it 1-0. Then a minute later, comes back down and scores again to tie it up. Goes into overtime. Yep. And by that time, like I go downstairs. I'm like, I can't believe they're in overtime because I'm just about to go on the show. I said, I cannot believe it. They just brought him back overtime. It's crazy. And all of a sudden, bam, they come back and Messi comes back to win it. Man, that's why soccer, man, is the number one sport in the world over there.
How about the game went so long it killed Fox's NFL pregame show?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I thought it was, and we're sitting there thinking, man, we're going to miss like the first couple of minutes of the Eagles game because this game keeps going and keeps going. You know, because like you said, Rob, 12:57 is when they wrapped it up. And I'm thinking, I hope they're not going to stay with this to the post-game celebration. And just when I said that, they make the announcement, post-game comments coming up on the FS1. I'm like,
Smart.
thank goodness.
Smart move.
They flipped that over.
I don't know what they would have done, honestly. Like, you can't deprive these TV markets of their game. People would have lost their minds. You know, with all due respect to soccer, and I'm not a soccer hater by any stretch, but come on, man. I know it was the World Cup, but these people want to see what's happening with their teams. It would have been an interesting decision Fox had on their hands. Like, can you really pull away from that if you're Fox and go to FS1 with that game?
No.
Maybe they send the football, the regional football games to FS1 in your area. Maybe they do that.
I was so impressed with the volume of people standing there oohing and awing in the gallery watching the soccer match. And I don't know how many of them had bet on the game or whatever, but the volume of people locked in on this soccer game was ridiculous, man. Collective oohs and I'll tell you what, both goaltenders in this game made unbelievable saves. And I mean, on point blank shots.
Oh,
like rubber band men, man. It would make, I don't know how they do it, man.
I don't either. Like that is so hard to do as a goalie, to come out and make plays like that at some of those stretches that they made. It was unbelievable.
Hey, dude, I'm looking at this Drew Nichols comment. You see this? Pull this up, Rob. I think JAKIB Sports should have a friendly boxing match. Come on, man. Rob against Rick, Gunn against Celio, Barrett against Seth, John against Jody. That would be legendary. Pay-per-view. Come on, man. It's the holiday season, man. Can't you do better?
Why am I fighting Rick? Like, what? I have a beef with Rick? What did this have?
Come on, man. It's the holiday season, bro.
I'm good.
That's all right. Yeah.
No thanks, Drew. All right. So a couple other things. Did you see the line from the Joker last night? All right. So Djokovic last night.
Crazy.
Okay. 40, 27, and 10.
I thought I was reading it wrong at first. 27 rebounds.
27 rebounds.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
My goodness.
40, 27, and 10. So the only other guy to do that is Wilt. So it's his fifth triple-double this season, 81st overall. I'm sorry, he's the third player in NBA history to get at least 40, 25, and 10. Wilt did it 4 times, and Elgin Baylor did it once. That's it.
Crazy.
That's pretty good company right there, Wilt and Elgin Baylor, man.
Well, he can take over a game when he wants to. But to that degree,
27 rebounds is phenomenal.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So props to him. That's an unbelievable accomplishment. All right. So a couple of things. Let's hit some birthdays because we have some heavy hitters here. Reggie White, the great one. The man. There he is. Hi, Reggie. Born on this day, 1961. We know we lost him way too soon. But Barrett, you played against him. You give him the ultimate respect, Mr. White.
The best player to ever put on a jersey.
I'm not going to argue that.
I'm not trying to hear any Jerry Rice. It's Mr. White, bro.
Yeah. Yep.
That club move of his was legendary. And nobody could counter it. That's the funny thing about it.
Nope.
Nobody could counter that move. And you knew it was coming. You just hope you weren't on this highlight reel, and too many offensive tackles ended up on this highlight reel.
Yeah, he did whatever he wanted on a football field. That guy.
Right. There's a bunch of football players, I mean, we should just go ahead and finish through the list of football
players.
Right,
yeah, let's rip through it because there are some really good ones. Yep. Al Kaline, who was a great baseball player, all-timer, born in 1934. Maurice White from the singer from
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind, and Fire is 81. Actor Jake Gyllenhaal, 42 years old. Alyssa Milano, 50 years old. Ronan Farrow, Mia Farrow's son, 35 years old. Jennifer Beals from Flashdance is 59 years old. Robert York, the actor, was born in 46, passed away. Chris Angel, the magician, 55. Arvidas Sabonis.
Damn.
Yeah, 58 years old. Warren Sapp, 50 today. Warren Sapp.
Yep.
Tim Reed, who played Venus.
Dude, I don't mean to cut you off, but look what you talk about a story, rags to riches to rags. The volume of money Warren Sapp lost because of lawsuits, PNC Bank, because of a deal he had went bad, hit him up for almost 900,000.
Jeez.
The IRS, what is those numbers I was looking at? PNC Bank awarded a judgment of 998 plus thousand. And then they filed a lien on 33,333 of his $45,000 salary from the NFL Network paycheck. That was one paycheck. Show you how much money he's making from the NFL Network.
Jeez, man.
He owed the IRS $853,000 from income from 2006 and another $89,775 from 2010. $876,000 behind in alimony and child support.
Oof.
In 2012, they auctioned off his home for $2.9 million. Now, supposedly, I don't know if this is still true. He doesn't own a car, from what I understand. I mean, the money he made as an athlete, and when the story came out about him filing bankruptcy, you were like, "What the heck happened?" But dude, he was so far in debt. This is like Michael Vick type debt.
Jeez, man.
My goodness, I hate to see it.
Has he made it? Has he made it all up or
I
back?
don't think so. I don't think so.
No, he's way far. That's why I say, man. That's why I've been trying to borrow $5 from you, D Gun, and you won't even get it to me, man.
Bro, how am I gonna give you $5 I don't even have? if I had it, you got it.
All right.
All right. I will get through the rest of these. Tim Reed is 78. He played Venus Flytrap on WKRP. Tyson Beckford, the model, is 52 years old.
Yep. Polo.
Yeah. Yep. Kevin McHale, former NBA Hall of Famer, 65. Jake Plummer played for the for the Cardinals and the Broncos. Arizona State, 48. Mike Lookinland, who played Bobby Brady, is 62 years old.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. What other birthdays do we have, fellas? And then I'll hit the movies.
Randall McDaniel.
Okay.
That guard played. I mean,
that's a good one.
Had like a broken foot. Looked like he had a broken foot.
Yeah, he had a good career.
He had a great career. I think that's it for me.
Okay.
Paulina Gretzky, daughter of Wayne, 34.
Yep.
Christy Swanson, the actress, 53.
Yep.
Marla Sokolov from The Practice is 42. Abigail Johnson, who is the billionaire daughter of the Fidelity investment founder, Edward Johnson, is 61. She's a billionaire. Whew. And that's it.
Okay.
Also, Mo Williams.
Mo Williams, former Cavalier. All right. Good movies today, guys. We have Raging Bull, 1980.
Great movie.
Yep. Titanic, 1997.
I still watch that movie when I can.
I don't.
What?
I don't like it.
You didn't like it?
No.
Too long? Or just
Yes. Too long. I just didn't like all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, why does everybody have to die, bro? I don't want to watch that. It's depressing.
Well, everybody didn't die. Wait a minute. You'll watch horror movies. Time out.
I don't watch horror movies.
You watch horror movies, lambs flying all over the place.
I don't watch horror movies. I don't watch scary movies. I don't.
Okay.
All
right. Kramer versus Kramer, 1979.
Another good one.
The movie 9 to 5, Dolly Parton, 1980.
Yep.
Zero Dark 30, a great one in 2012.
Yep. Great movie.
The Annie remake with Jamie Foxx in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Little Shop of Horrors, 1986.
Watch that too. Yep.
I didn't like that one.
Platoon, 1986.
Love that movie.
Charlie Sheen, Willem Dafoe. Oh, that's a that's an all-timer, man.
Yeah, that's a classic.
All-timer, bro.
I'm telling you, man.
All-timer, man.
Barnes versus Elias and the whole tug of war.
Oh yeah.
Everything is going on there, man. So yeah. What else you have, Gunnar?
The Mary Poppins remake, 2018.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings, 2001.
Loved it.
Yep. Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb, 2014.
That's number 2. That's the number one. Number 2 one, right?
Tomorrow Never Dies, 1997, a Bonds film.
Okay.
2006, American Pie, The Naked Mile. After the first one, I couldn't watch the stupid movies anymore.
I couldn't even tell you one of them after the first
couldn't
one.
watch it. And 7 Pounds, 2008, with Will Smith.
Great movie.
Yeah.
There's some good ones. That's a good day. That's a good movie day, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All in general, good birthdays too. All told. All right, so we will continue. We'll turn up the heat even more on the Eagles and the Cowboys. We'll dive into some Cowboy stuff. We'll go behind enemy lines with the Cowboys this week as well. We'll try and get somebody on from Dallas just to discuss, where they're at, what this team really is. From an insider's perspective, we know what we see from the outside. That's for sure. But we'll continue to talk about the Eagles. I would assume some form of practice tomorrow with a shorter week, right? Normally Tuesday's the off day.
Probably
Yeah,
a walkthrough.
Yeah.
Walkthrough. Tomorrow will be a Wednesday. So, I mean, that would they do 2 walkthroughs in a row?
I don't know.
Depends on how nicked up they are.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of maintenance days for guys this week.
Yeah,
deservedly so. Deservedly so.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we'll do all those things. I want to thank Xander Krause producing the program. Thanks to everybody in the chat section, everybody streaming, everybody listening. So don't go anywhere. You got 3 hours coming up. The National Football Show with Dan Cilio coming up next. And like I said, we're back at it tomorrow. We'll recap what the Sixers did. Continue to update you on the Flyers. There's some Philly stuff I didn't get a chance to get to today, which we'll do tomorrow as well. But most importantly, get you set for the Eagles and the Cowboys and everything else that's happening in Week 16, man. Crazy. So everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow at noon. For Barrett, for Derek, I'm Rob. Thanks for hanging out. See you tomorrow.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know how Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Ram starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from